Welcome to SteeleWatching, which is a podcast for Remington Steele fans. My name is Sara, and now I want the lemon. Wait, no.
What? What? You're going to have to explain that one.
Mr. Steele in the episode. Now I want that. You asked for a line, sir.
Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
but now
Okay.
I thought I was trying something out. I guess it didn't.
I'm sorry. We were talking about baseball and hockey and Muppets and Jim Varney and Ernest, and that came out of nowhere, and I'm just sorry.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'm Eric, and I don't care what anybody told you. Showing me the same advertisement 5 and 6 times during a 30-minute television show does not make me want to buy your product.
No, it makes me want to buy it less.
Does not make me like your company.
It makes me want to buy it less.
That's right. I can buy a Swiffer clone at the grocery store for less money, and it does the same thing.
Plus, if I see the ad enough, I get this like almost defiant, you can't make me buy it. I'm not going to buy it.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm the worst person to market stuff to.
I am too. Anyway.
All right. So before we get into the episode or anything like that, there was an email. So I wanted to just quickly start with that, and then we'll move into the episode. Did you want me to just read it, and then we'll respond?
And then we'll discuss it. Yeah.
Okay. So this person wrote, hi, Eric. Enjoyed the analysis of Grappling Steele. I wanted to share my thoughts on the initial difference of opinion between Steele and Laura. I think that Steele was concerned that Crunch was faking the attempts on his life and then trying to involve Remington Steele investigations to increase the publicity and show that the threat was serious. Sara suggested
in sarcasm quotes.
Yeah, that was. I'm sorry. I should have put my. I guess it wouldn't matter because they can't see me. But
yeah, that's what you say. Sarcasm quotes.
Sara suggested that Steele seems like the sort of fellow who would enjoy the showy world of professional wrestling, and she may be right. But the inevitable outcome of taking a trumped-up case for publicity would be that the agency would have to conclude a case without finding the criminal. That outcome, given heavy coverage in the news because of the wrestling angle, could only hurt the agency's reputation. I think that in this case, Steele was trying to be the sober and responsible partner, thinking ahead and considering the long-term health of their agency. Thus, being summarily overruled by Laura hurt twice as much because he not only didn't feel like an equal partner, but felt that his attempt to be the kind of partner Laura respects was being rebuffed. Turns out he was wrong about the case, but I think that sense of injustice is why he seemed so especially vexed by Laura's response. More trivially, the actress who played Mary was born in 1946 rather than 1933, making their age difference 12 years. It's a little unusual, especially on television, but we have to be fair and acknowledge the double standard. There are comparable age differences the other way, the man older than the woman on many episodes of Steele. Thanks again for all the great work on the podcast. I'm enjoying your takes on the 4th season, which is always the one that's a little harder to get through for me. So, yeah, do you want to start with any response you might have for that one?
Well, mostly I have no issue with his comments. I do think that it wouldn't necessarily hurt the agency's reputation to have taken the case if it turned out to be just for publicity on Crunch's part. Because, I mean, alleged cases get investigated all the time, and sometimes the result is a big nothing burger. Now, in the case of the agency, they're getting paid. So, they're making their money because they get paid to do the investigation, not for the results. Now, if it's a government agency, then, okay, we're going to make sure that we get some results, whether they're really there or not, because that's how we get our money. But yeah, I see the point that he's trying to make, or this person's trying to make. Did I say he? No, I didn't say that. But I don't entirely agree with that little aspect of it.
I could see when you say like they're taking the case, so it either way, I guess even if they found that the case was a fake, that could be, you could use that, the agency could still use that and say, we've revealed that this was trumped up for publicity, and that would expose the organization of wrestling instead of exposing a would-be killer. Well,
just from the standpoint of, okay, Crunch Kramer was trying to do it for publicity to build up his reputation, and okay, it was fake, it was publicity, but we are a legitimate agency, and the case was brought to us, and we had an obligation to investigate, which we did, and this is the result. And we're being honest about this. So I think it could be positive for them.
True.
As far as the actress who played Mary, I wish I had bookmarked where I found my information, because after having gotten this email, I went back and I looked and I could not find what I found. I found what he said.
I don't know how you found anything, because I looked and looked, and I swear I couldn't find a birth date for this person, for that woman at all. So,
well, is finding something and being wrong really any better than not finding something? I don't think so.
True. And it's not even so much like, I agree there is a double standard. 1000% there's a double standard, because we see it all the time, not just in film, but just in real life. You see an older man and a younger woman, and nobody bats an eye, but then you see it the other way around, and people are like, oh, there's a cougar, meow. And so, we're maybe a little guilty of that too, but it wasn't so much the fact that it was more just the fact of the casting choice, because with Hollywood, they typically like to have, you don't often get a mature woman, so to say, in a role that doesn't call for one to be a mature woman. Like Crunch being a young man who is, I think we looked up, the actor was like 25 or something like that. One would theoretically assume that the script or the casting call would be for somebody of similar age. So it was just interesting to me that they went with an actress who was visibly significantly older, and she wasn't ugly, but she wasn't conventionally Hollywood attractive the way Whitney Chambers was. So I just thought that was interesting.
To me, a point in her favor.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a criticism. I just It was an interesting decision, because, and again, this happened with Mildred too. Initially, they were going to have a hot woman in her 30s, and instead they went with Doris Roberts, which phenomenal choice. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting choice that they went that route, because nobody would think twice about going, oh yeah, older guy, younger woman, sure, but they.
Well, yeah. In reference to the actress being older than the actor who she was playing a ex-wife of, all I want to do is quote the song, "Older women make beautiful lovers."
Or there's that, I like it. I like just a little bit older. You know that song that I don't want to lose your love tonight. Anyway.
doesn't ring a bell for me, but
I just sang. Yeah.
And the only thing I'll take note of is that this writer says that the fourth season is always harder for them to get through, and I'm curious. I'd like to get more of an explanation of that.
I would love to. Could you write us back, please? Because this is I think this is my favorite season of the show. I think far,
most people would agree that fourth season is consistently the best season of all the seasons, because of the quality of the episodes. You may not have a vintage Steele in here, but the overall quality, the difference between the best and the worst of this season is so much narrower.
It's marginal. Because, so far, in my opinion, the only episode that even got close to being, quote-unquote, a dud, and I'm saying that with air quotes because it was still an enjoyable episode, was Corn-Fed. And that was a lot of fun still. It wasn't... I wasn't coming out of that like, oh God, I gotta watch the pig episode again. Like it had Harry Groner in it. Grainer, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he was in it. And just like that, it's a good season. So please write us back. Tell us why. Because
Okay, I'm done.
All right. Yeah. So for this episode, we are going to be talking about Coffee, Tea, or Steele, which is season 4, episode 8. This episode first aired December 10th, 1985. And it was written by Robin Bernheim. So this is not the first time we've seen her name, but I think it's the first time we've seen her name on her own, because she helped Stephanie with her script, Steele and the Chips. But I think this is the first one we've had Robin Bernheim helm entirely herself, and directed by Christopher Hibbler. So here we have seen his name. Also, Terry O'Quinn is in this. Do you know who he is? Like, he plays Captain McBride, but have you seen him in anything else?
I probably have, but I couldn't pull anything off the top of my head of saying, I remember.
You probably didn't watch the TV show Lost, but if you did, let me know. He's one of the main characters in Lost. He's been in a ton of things. Like, Terry O'Quinn shows up in... He's one of those actors that when you see him, you're just like, oh, there's Terry O'Quinn. I know him. But he's a main character in Lost. He plays a character named John Locke, who is named after the philosopher. And his character is the plot of Lost is that there's a plane crash, which is kind of funny because he's playing a pilot in this episode. So I'm like, they better not be letting John Locke fly the plane. That's a bad idea. But yeah, he plays. They're all on this plane, and it crashes. And at the beginning of the series, that's what's just happened. It's sort of the aftermath of this crash, and all of these characters are stuck on this island. There's all these mysteries. There's like a polar bear. There's like weird noises. People start disappearing into the jungle. It's like a whole thing. And his character, before the crash, was paralyzed, and when he gets to the island has somehow miraculously healed him, and he's able to walk. And yeah, it's a ride.
We wrote ourselves into a corner on the pilot, so let's just
no, it's all part of the mystery that is on the island. It was created by J.J. Abrams, a name that you would be familiar with. Yeah, no lens flares though. Ironically enough, it's lens flare free.
I bet he hated that.
Yeah, Abrams and I'm trying to remember the co-creator. There were two that created the show. So yeah, he was a main character on that. So it was really fun to see him here. But what killed me was, speaking of ages, okay, when you get the script, and I'm looking at the script right now, and I'm trying to find the scene where it describes, or the description of Captain McBride. So just bear with me here, because anyway, it describes him as a rough 50. Terry O'Quinn was 33.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm assuming,
and he's definitely not rough. He's
yeah. So I'm assuming it's just because he's losing his hair, because like he was bald on Lost, and he's always been losing his hair. Anything I've ever seen him in, he's not had a ton of
he
hair.
Was born bald.
He's kind of like Patrick Stewart, like lost all his hair when he was 19. So I'm assuming, yeah. So I'm assuming it's kind of like they saw that and they were like, oh yeah, he could play 50. Because I'm watching this going, wait a minute, he was about 50 on Lost. This isn't working for me. So I had to look it up.
The math isn't mathing.
Yeah, the math is not mathing. So I just thought I'd point that out because I love Terry O'Quinn. I like seeing him and stuff. And yeah, he's great in this. So I went with the TV Guide synopsis. The body of a hired killer pops up on the baggage carousel of a luxury airline. Meanwhile, Mildred doesn't see eye to eye with an intern Steele wants to hire. So, yeah, that's...
Well, Steele did hire.
I was going to say, the only thing I would take issue with is it's not that he wants to hire. He did. He did hire.
Yeah. Now, can I divert
good.
this
Here
flight?
We go. Yeah, we're going to divert the flight. Okay.
I am about 101% positive that the title of this episode was inspired by the book Coffee, Tea, or Me, which is a book of purported memoirs by the fictitious stewardesses Trudy Baker and Rachel Jones, written initially by the uncredited Donald Bain and first published in 1967. The book depicts the anecdotal lives of two lusty young stewardesses and was originally presented as factual. Bain revealed in his 2002 memoir, Every Midget Has an Uncle Sam Costume, that he wrote Coffee, Tea, or Me, and 3 sequels while employed as a New York-based American Airlines public relations person. The publisher hired 2 Eastern Airlines stewardesses to pose as the authors for book tours and television appearances. An editor at a publishing house had introduced Bain to 2 Eastern Airlines stewardesses who thought they might be able to write a good book about their escapades. The editor thought Don might want to be the ghostwriter, but when he sat down with them, he realized they really didn't have much to offer other than a few anecdotes. He realized that he didn't have enough to sustain a book and that he was going to have to use an awful lot of his own imagination. Nevertheless, he was inspired by the idea, so he created a memoir out of whole cloth. The book shot into the bestseller list, and the 2 stewardesses were delighted to go on the road to publicize it as the authors, even though their real names were not on the cover. Bedazzled by fame, one of them legally changed her name to the one that she'd been given in the book.
Wow, okay.
Written in first-person voice of Trudy Baker, with Bain's name appearing as in the dedication between the list of chapters and the foreword, the book describes a kind of glamorous lifestyle from the stewardess's point of view, working for 2 years for an unnamed American carrier out of New York. Written to emphasize the sexy parts of the job, although difficult experiences are also recounted, and the shifts in society and culture were then underway. And the illustrations were by a men's magazine cartoonist, Bill Wenzel, which depict flight attendants and female passengers as busty sex bots. The book contains period references to television shows such as Batman and lists of celebrities the authors claimed to have carried on their flights. Film rights to the book were once owned by Robert Aldrich, who bought them in 1968. He wanted to make the movie under a deal he had with ABC Pictures. He had done a script which was written by Theodore Flicker, which was described as very funny and very dirty, about a stewardess who tries to lose her virginity. And Aldrich said, we took the Doris Day formula of all those successful pillow talk comedies and inverted it. But ABC didn't want to make it. And Aldrich said, nobody liked our script except me. And when his option lapsed, it was picked up by CBS, who turned it into a TV movie, which starred Karen Valentine, who called it Not All That Naughty. But it really didn't seem to have anything to do with the book. It was apparently based on the plot for a movie called The Captain's Paradise, a 1953 British comedy starring Alec Guinness.
Okay.
And there's a disclaimer I must make here. I'm not responsible for anything I may say in this episode. Things which may be risque, if not downright inappropriate. And I blame Robin Bernheim and Donald Bain and the fact that in my research, I discovered that there is also an adult version.
Oh, no.
And so with that as my background, you know where my mind went, okay?
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
Straight down.
That's right. Power dive right into the gutter.
I'm going to use that to jump off to just talk a little bit about the job of, well, they called them stewardesses back then. We now just call them flight attendants. But as I didn't realize, I didn't know about the book, but I do know that in the 80s specifically, like 70s and the 80s coming up into the 80s, that job, the job of like a stewardess, was considered to be glamorous and sexy and very in demand. It was something that a lot of women dreamed about doing because of the sort of status symbol that went along with it. Like there was a sex symbol image. Airlines that would often like used sexualized marketing, and this is kind of mentioned and hinted at, like emphasized in this episode.
I read somewhere along those same lines that the idea of somebody getting a date with a stewardess was like getting a date with a Playboy model. Yeah.
And as a result, though, a lot of these stewardesses dealt with a lot of unwanted attention from passengers. And we see that with Laura in the episode as we watch it. But like, there was also certain things that, for example, weight restrictions. There were like weight limits, and a lot of airlines, they were required to weigh in before flights. And some were even fired for failing to meet weight requirements.
Sounds like the military.
But they're not. No one's handing them a gun and telling them to defend they're serving coffee. So there was like an image that these airlines were trying to maintain, even if they weren't Platinum Air. And so that's kind of like why that role was looked at as being something so sexy and glamorous, because every one of the stewardesses had a certain look to them. And there was a lot of deregulation of the industry in itself, which led to more seats on planes. Flying was more accessible to the larger population. And so like it was kind of paradoxical. It was considered to be empowering, but also kind of objectifying, which is hinted at in this episode. So I thought I would just point that out. And you kind of mentioned it with the book and like all that went with the book. So it's kind of interesting that this episode definitely touches on a lot of that. So we begin at night with the episode. We can see the sky and the lights of the aircraft taking off. We get this soft piano music playing. And then inside, okay, I know this is supposed to be a luxury airline. I think it's hideous.
Oh, yeah.
It's hideous. I don't know about you, but
why did they put these screens up over the windows?
Right? Like it just, and I want to just read the description from the script because it so it says interior jetliner at night, seemingly apart from the ominous night, secure and comfortable. No endless rows of too narrow seats here. Rather a recreation of an elegant lounge with groupings of comfortable armchairs. Camera pans past a tuxedoed pianist at a lacquered baby grand, past a gleaming bar glittering with Waterford stemware, stopping at a delectable stewardess we will come to know as Wanda Milner, 24, doe-eyed with a sweet smile. Wanda is proffering a tray of hors d'oeuvres to Mrs. St. Clair, an elderly woman of distinction and expensive jewelry. Sitting on her lap is a scrawny poodle sporting a pink bow.
The whole dog is pink.
Everything's pink.
Why do you do that to your dog?
Like, it's not just the dog. The dog matches the decor. That's the sad part. The whole, like, the sign for Platinum Air, the carpeting, everything's pink. It looks like a Mary Kay. It looks like Mary Kay married an airline, and that's what they got.
You just said something, and my mind went gutter.
Please share with the class.
The carpet matches the drapes.
Oh no! I literally walked right into that. I'm sorry to everybody listening. That was my mistake. But it is. It's like, you know what it made me think of? Do you remember that trend back in the 80s and 90s where you'd go to somebody's house and you'd ask to use their bathroom, or maybe it was your bathroom, I don't know, but like the bathroom would be carpeted, and not only the bathroom, like the toilet seat was carpeted, the top of the toilet seat was carpeted, and it was supposed to be
luxurious.
But it like, you just think of like what a nightmare that would be to clean. That's kind of what I thought of when I saw this plane.
I mean, I don't know about women's restrooms. I don't go in and frequent them, but yeah, a lot of times I'll go into.
It's good to know.
Well, a lot of times I'll go into a men's restroom and, you know, like a fast food restaurant or somewhere like that, and it's like, guys, it's a pretty big target. How did you have so much trouble hitting it? And it's like, and you're gonna put carpet around that? No. Right?
Because every time I use a public restroom, if it's one of those family rooms or something, family restrooms where it's a single stall, so anybody could have been in there, I'm always checking the seat to make sure I'm not having to wipe stuff off, or, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at this plane going, if this is the lap of luxury, count me, like, no, I'm good. I don't need to be on that plane, because I think I'd be sick. Like, it looked like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol that they're just inside. So it's like,
I mean, I like Dusty Rose, but this is a little too much.
That's a lot. It is a lot. Yeah. So that's kind of the setting that we have. And then we have so we've got Mrs. St. Clair, we've got the poodle, which is, like I said, matches the plane. And then, and I think just the script description here as well for Barry Holder, we've got him, he's sitting next to this gentleman named Dayton, and he says, "Tell me more about that tax shelter," which I found really quite funny. And then we see Sally Phillips, and she's described as angular good looks that are beginning to show the miles, which I found kind of in keeping with the plane theme. So yeah. And this is where it describes Captain McBride. It says a gruff 50. Sorry, not rough, gruff, but still, he's definitely not 50. But then we get Biff Lewis, a swaggering jet jock, 32, who clearly thinks he's God's gift to women.
Yeah.
And then it's navigator Freddie Packer, who listens intently on his headset. So that's kind of the description that we have of some of the characters, which I found was. And then we see, I think it's Lorraine, who walks by bringing a drink to a man in a business suit who's sitting there getting a manicure, which I found really interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen that on television. I get that it's meant to be showing that it's a luxurious airline, but usually if it's a like manicure or anything to do with the nails, it would be a woman. You'd think it would be a woman dressed in fancy clothing getting a manicure, but he's just sitting there getting his nails done. Like, good for him. No shade here. You know, you got to take care of yourself. But it was just an interesting choice given the sort of association with nails and women and beauty and whatnot. So, and I even have in my notes, everything is pink on this airline. So yeah. Then we've got
what that represents.
Yeah. Then so they go by Barry Holder. He's talking about how he's up $2 million over the Rockies. Mr. Jaden. Mr. Jaden looks at another man in a suit sitting next. Dayton. Tell me about that tax shelter. Sorry, I heard it wrong when I listened to it. I heard Jaden, but it says Dayton in the script, so I'm not sure. Anyway, we then see that Sally goes into the cockpit. Like I said, she offers drinks to everyone there, including McBride. Should the pilot be drinking? Because
well, it's coffee, but usually.
Oh, I thought she had drinks with her.
No, I think it's coffee, but usually the pilot and co-pilots at least from what I understand, they are not allowed to eat or drink from the same places before a flight.
Interesting.
Because if one gets sick from food poisoning,
oh, yeah, that makes sense.
you don't want the other one getting sick from it as well.
True.
So they have to eat and drink at separate places. So I would be a little surprised that they would just hand coffee to both of them. But I mean, this is back in the 80s.
Yeah. I mistook it for something else that she was offering. So, yeah. Oh, I just realized what I said. Okay, that was my fault. I'm going to keep going. As she offers a drink to Biff, he sings, "You're the cream in my coffee," in his sad attempt to flirt.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
And my mind automatically went there. But then it went somewhere else.
Oh.
My mind said, it's a good thing that this was not made 20 or 30 years later when we had a bunch of TV shows and movies that were gender role reversed, because then it would have been a female pilot singing it to a male steward, which takes it to a whole new level of inappropriate.
You're right. Everything about Biff is a whole new level of inappropriate. This guy is just a complete waste of a human being. I don't know how he manages to get all those stewardesses, but somehow he does. So she smiles, she walks away, and then we see the plane land. And inside the baggage area, it looks like the inside of the Playboy Mansion for some bizarre reason.
What I said, what is this, the Playboy Club? And if they're going to have scantily dressed women acting as hostesses for their passengers in the baggage claim area, why not on the airplane as well? I mean, come on.
Yeah, what actually surprised me about the flight attendant stewardess costumes, or the outfits, is that they were fairly, I don't want to say sexless because they were in miniskirts, but the jackets were not form-fitting. So they were pretty
professional looking.
Professional, yeah. That's what I saw it as. I didn't see them as objectifying the women. Like, they were in skirts, sure, but the rest of it was pretty bland in terms of a uniform. That's the word I was looking for. But once you get off the flight, not so much.
Party!
They're walking around in these bathing suits with, not bathing suits, but like unitard. They're in pretty much nothing. They look like they're in Vegas.
Yes.
Very, very pink Vegas. So, yeah, it's scantily clad women dressed like Playboy bunnies walking around with drinks as they wait for their bags to come out of the carousel. Mrs. Sinclair, my bad, declares it a fabulous flight as always, and Mr. Dayton agrees that the whole operation is simply flawless. And as he says that, a dead body comes falling out of the chute and onto the baggage carousel. Screams can be heard, the dog starts to bark, and one of the bunnies offers champagne.
Ask if anybody wants champagne. And well, of course she does. What else would she ask?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, it's probably where her IQ's at. So there's probably only a select few sentences that rattle around in there, and the rest of it's just,
Yes.
Anyway, so
pretty low IQ.
Yeah.
Waist high. Sorry.
However, speaking of pink, in the Remington Steele offices, Laura comes in wearing this really nice pink pinstripe blouse. I like pink on her. It looks good. I like her in bright colors. I think they really, really work for her skin tone. I think the cut of that is nice. Not so crazy about the shoulder pads, but of course it was the 80s, so try buying a blouse without them. It's not humanly possible. But yeah, no, I think she looks really, really good in this blouse. Contrary to the plane that just looks hideous, Laura looks nice and pink. But Mildred is furiously ripping open the mail. And Laura says good morning, asks her to let her know when Mr. Steele arrives, and Mildred smoothly says he's arrived. Laura is surprised. She says, "This early?" And Mildred replies, "He's hiring." You can tell she is not impressed. Laura is even more confused, and Mildred clarifies, "One of his students." Laura asks, "What students?" And Mildred says, "At USC. He's been guest lecturing. Introduction to the Criminal Mind." And Laura snarkily replies, "Well, he should know." Which is good. It's a good line. And she's able to say that now to Mildred and have Mildred understand it, which is is nice because we haven't
Yeah.
gotten that yet. So,
Yeah, that had been missing for a couple of seasons. That's for
yeah,
sure.
it does. It gives Laura and Mildred an extra sort of added bond here.
Mhm.
So then she tells
It kind of elevates Mildred a little bit to the same level that Bernice had been previously. Not quite the same level in the same way, but I mean, it brings a little bit more of that back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we were in dire need of it. So I like that,
Yeah.
that this is here. Laura tells Mildred it's time to give the professor a pop quiz and enters his office where she finds him on the couch with a young man standing opposite him listening with rapt attention. And Steele is in full lecture mode. He's telling him, although it takes years to develop the imagination of a master sleuth, to hone the instincts to a razor-sharp sensitivity to... Laura clears her throat, and he jumps up, telling her, come in, and introduces her to Marvin T. Slotman Jr. Laura shakes his hand and says, what a pleasant surprise, in a tone that implies she intends to kill him in his sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe not wait till he's in his sleep. He just do it out right now.
Yeah, he knows that it's a bad idea to be alone with her at this point.
Yeah.
He pretends not to notice, telling her that Marvin has come on as their intern, their detective in the making. He says he's ours to shape, ours to mold. Marvin says he can't tell them what an honor it is to be working for Mr. Steele. And Steele feigns bashfulness, but Laura, still in that tone that promises imminent death, says she's often found it challenging to put into words.
Yes.
Then she asks to see him in her office, and then his smile immediately fades. He mutters something to Marvin about a case that obviously needs solving, tells him to enjoy the photographs, and he follows her. She shuts the door and says, you've been lecturing at USC and you didn't tell me? He tells her it was only one or two guest speaker spots and he didn't want to bother her. She gestures to Marvin and asks what he's doing now. Steele tells her he's merely easing the burden of an unwieldy caseload. Which, dude.
If that was the real reason, it would be fine. But it's obviously not.
No, and also, this is another one of those situations where you're watching this thinking, at what point did he think she wasn't going to notice?
Yeah, really. Hey, here's this guy walking around. What's he doing?
You know? Like, the agency, depending on, I guess, the internship, because some interns are unpaid.
Mm-hmm.
Internships can be paid sometimes and other times not paid. So I don't know if the agency is actually paying Marvin Slotman Jr., but either way, like, he was going to have this conversation at some point.
And he probably should have had it beforehand. Yes.
Yeah, that was where I was going with that. Like, this is one of those, he decided to ask for forgiveness, not permission, but
Yeah.
dude, you're so yeah, unwieldy caseload is his excuse, but that's obviously not what it is, because there's a knock on the door and Marvin enters. He asks if he can ask Mr. Steele a question, and Steele is thrilled, pointing out he's eager to learn.
Yes.
Marvin then proceeds to ask Steele if he wants heavy or medium starch in his collars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much
He
for
tells-
lightening the caseload.
Yeah. He tells Marvin they'll talk about later and ushers him out the door. And when he shuts it, she fixes him with an accusing look and repeats, unwieldy caseload. And embarrassed, he admits there are some ancillary responsibilities he had in mind for the lad.
Yeah.
This is actually, I really, really, really like what this forces to happen with Mildred eventually. I like where this pushes them. And it's obvious that up until this point, like, they've been slowly building this episode by episode. And I appreciated the way they've done it because, again, we don't have a lot of continuity from episode to episode. It's usually pretty standalone unless there's like something like the freeze. But we've seen Mildred becoming more and more disillusioned with him ever since learning about him in London.
Oh, sure.
This is the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it's obvious, too, for Steele. It's not just Mildred becoming more disillusioned. We've seen Steele becoming more hurt, I guess, but also missing that adoring subordinate that Mildred used to be. That person that always had his coffee ready for him. That puppy tail wag that she would have every time he comes in the door. And so he
just ate
hires...
it up.
He did. And this is obviously his attempt to reclaim that by hiring Marvin, who is looking at him the way Mildred used to. And it's hard to feel sorry for him in a sense because what he does ends up hurting Mildred even further.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess you can see why this fracturing of the relationship has also had an impact on him, because he used to feel like Mildred looked up to him, and now that's gone. Like she doesn't see him as.
Yeah, but you know, it's not anything he's unfamiliar with, because back in the first season, Murphy knew all about him. Bernice knew all about him. So he should be at least somewhat used to dealing with people who know that he isn't who he claims to be. He just liked having a servant around, and that's what he missed.
I do think that he missed that, but I think there was maybe a tiny bit more to it, in the sense that Mildred was often the only person that kind of believed in him, even if it was falsely. She saw him as this hero figure, and I think that when he had Laura constantly reminding him that he's not Remington Steele, that maybe balanced him out a little bit, to feel that he was maybe a little bit the person that he was at least trying to be. And now he's got both of them kind of, and Mildred's not just hurt by it, she's disappointed in him.
Well, yeah.
Which has gotta be kind of a day. Yeah, I agree. He also misses the bringing him the paper and, you know, making his coffee and doing all his errands, for sure. But I think there's also an element of not just the hero worship, but just that feeling that somebody's on his side, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think it's a combination of things that, like you said, that he liked the hero worship, which, you know, okay, it's great. But the respect for being a great detective, I mean, he should have known that couldn't last forever. And he should almost feel a little bit relieved in a sense, because he doesn't have to. I mean, it's got to be hard work to keep up the act.
Yeah, true.
And now he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, gives him the energy to focus on doing things like actually becoming a good detective. You know, so.
I also wonder if some of it is due to the fact that Mildred's older and sort of like a surrogate parent to the two of them, in a way. Like, she sees them as her kids, and her losing that hero worship is almost akin to a parent being like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed, which is like the worst thing a parent can say. You know?
I thought it was, you're grounded for 3 weeks.
Okay, well, that too, but like just that disappointment. So I think he just wants some of that back, that feeling back, this is not the way to do it, because he had to know that this would be, or maybe not. Maybe he genuinely didn't think of what it would do to Mildred to see this person sort of usurping her place, so to speak.
I'll say he didn't think.
No, he never. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. It's pretty,
I mean, that's pretty much standard for him.
Yeah, his MO, yeah. So we've got Laura, who looks at her watch and tells him that they have to fly, and they'll discuss this later. And there is a multitude of words in that statement.
Yes.
He tries to explain himself, but she is not having it. She tells him later, and then that they have a case. They leave her office, and Laura tells Mildred that they're going to be at Platinum Air. And Mildred says, "What about Joe College?" Laura promises to settle it this afternoon. Steele asks Mildred to find a suitable place for him in the meantime, which Mildred is extra not impressed with, especially when he comes out of the offices swaggering as if he owns the place. She glares.
I hate this kid. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. He's arrogant. He's snotty. He's
a jerk. He totally disrespects Mildred throughout this entire episode. It's just he looks down on her in the way that she feels that others may be looking down on her as a secretary. And I think that's what really pushes her to walk away, because she says, like, I want some respect. And I don't want to skip ahead, but like, he doesn't give her any respect. He just sees her as the person manning the phones. He's
the kind of person, I think, that doesn't really give anybody any respect unless they can do something for him.
Yeah. And I also think that probably she's an older woman manning the phones. So he probably just sees her as like this old lady past her prime that's answering phones. And why should I need to bother with her? Or show her any respect or deference because she's not a detective after all. So
he's clearly not somebody who's had a job in any kind of a corporate office position, because anybody who had would know that the secretary controls a whole lot more.
Everything. Literally everything. Yeah. Because I work in a school, obviously, and one thing you learn when you start at any new school is you find out who the secretaries are. You make friends with them. You make nice, even as a staff member, because like they're the ones that know everything. They control everything. They run everything. Like
they can lose your paperwork.
Absolutely. And they're they are the heartbeat of the school. They're literally the core part of the central nervous system. So yeah, you've got to show that respect. It's due. But he's the script has him as a very eager and sincere 20. So he's never had I would venture to say
eager and sincere. Yeah. Let's see, what's the word? How do you spell that? Sycophant?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. So yeah. We get a scene change. We're at Platinum Air. Laura and Steele are being shown the baggage carousel, and they're speaking to Mr. Ketchum, who is
I don't like this guy.
Oh no! And again, I'm really enjoying the descriptions of these characters in the script because they're actually really quite funny. Because when it says Ace Ketchum, the chauvinistic cigar chomping owner of Royal Air, like it's got him dead to rights. That's who he is.
No cigar, but yeah.
He's just missing the cigar, but he's a complete jerk too.
Oh yeah.
So he tells them the body just plopped down there like a sack of potatoes, and Laura asks if he has any idea how it got on board, or he got on board. And Mr. Ketchum turns to Steele and says, "Good question." Which Laura rolls her eyes at, and he says it couldn't have been a passenger, as they keep records of everything the passengers bring on board. Steele concludes it must have been a crew member, and Ketchum agrees, saying they don't keep records of what the crew brings on board, as they've never had a reason to. And I don't know what the ins and outs are of airlines and their flight attendants and their pilots and stuff, but I would think that you'd want to know what your crew is bringing on board too, wouldn't you? Like, wouldn't that be?
Well, especially if it's a really large bag, big enough to hold a body, because typically
a body-sized bag. Yeah, that would be.
I mean, I take a lot of aircrew to the airport since I do Uber and Lyft, and usually it's one regular-sized suitcase at most.
Yeah.
So I would think at some point some question would have been asked.
Well, especially
if it's unusual.
Yeah. And I know that this is a domestic flight, but especially if you're crossing borders, you would think that they would have to disclose what they're bringing with them, because things could be like you could smuggle stuff like macadamia nuts or pastrami, for example. But yeah, like I don't know. If anybody works for an airline or has worked for an airline or knows this, whether or not the crew has to disclose what they bring. I used to work at a department store as a cashier. And when I left for the evening, I had to open my bag and show them what was in it to make sure I wasn't stealing stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems odd that they wouldn't keep track of what the crew brings on board their airline. But hey, I'm not Ace Ketchum, the genius that created Platinum Air. So what do I know, right?
Yeah.
He says their new baggage system is state of the art, and the bags are vacuumed up through a tube right down to the carousel.
State of the art. Yeah, right.
Nobody touches them at all. And he hands Steele a large duffel bag, saying this was the body, or the bag the body was in. Steele comments that there are a few termites in the system. And I have to wonder, they mention this later on, too. They comment on, like, thank God for bugs in the state-of-the-art system. But as far as I know, it functioned as it was supposed to. There just happened to be a body there.
Yeah, and the duffel bag just ripped. Yeah. Presumably from the impact of the body being jumbled around, and the seams weren't strong enough to hold it. Although I suppose there was maybe one version of the script where there was a comment about the bag having gotten snagged on something and ripped as a result. And then this was what came out of it. But I didn't see anything in the script.
Maybe, yeah. Because it's when I saw that, I was like, well, I don't think there are termites in the system. I think it worked exactly as it was supposed to. There just wasn't supposed to be a dead body there. That's the problem.
And the duffel bag wasn't supposed to split open. Yeah,
exactly. But that tends to probably happen if there's a corpse in it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know for sure. I've never smuggled a body on board an airplane, but, if I ever do, I'll let you know. So,
Okay. Yeah. Next time you go somewhere, try it. Yeah.
Right. Sure. I'll do my next podcast from prison.
Yeah.
Ketchum says the police still haven't been able to ID the corpse, and Laura asks if he was a passenger, and Ketchum laughs, but directs his answer again at Steele, saying he was in the wrong tax bracket, 30% on the outside by the looks of his suit. Besides, he was dead long before he was put on the plane. Steele comments on how the news media hasn't broken the story yet, and Ketchum admits he has friends in high places, but he can't keep it under wraps for long. He tells Steele that Platinum Air is an image business, and once this gets out, he will be grounded. He says he has to find out who's responsible and that they have to find out pronto. Laura takes his hand and shakes it, saying the agency prides itself in getting results, and then Ketchum turns back to Steele and says, I knew I could count on you, Steele.
Yeah.
And the
unidentified woman.
The smirk on Stephanie's face here is chef's kiss. It's great. She really is good in this scene because you can see every time he turns to look at Ketchum looks at Steele, just the look on her face, the like, oh, I hate this again.
Again. And
I think it's important that a woman wrote the script because there's a lot of, and I don't think it's heavy-handed.
A lot of eye rolling.
Yeah, there's a lot of eye rolling, but there's a lot of commentary in this script on some of the stuff that these stewardesses were going through that isn't necessarily heavy-handed, but is there and sort of present and reminding us like this, it's an image business, but it's also a business where these girls are frequently harassed and touched, and this is something that is happening. It's just, it was good that it was a woman who was writing this from that perspective, saying like, hey, this is what's going on. We see a plane taking off, and now on board we see Steele sitting in a chair with a newspaper, and Laura passes by in the stewardess uniform. And he calls out, oh, miss. Laura turns, coffee pot in hand, and grits her teeth as he asks for a touch more coffee. She gives it to him and says, I hope you're enjoying this. And then Steele says, we all have our place. You can't expect me to prance around in that little tutu like that, do you?
Okay, admittedly, they're in a plane with a lot of other people around, but I mean, she's got a pot of hot coffee.
I know.
I mean, oops.
Well, that comes later with thankfully not a pot of hot coffee, but yeah, like he's really pushing it here because at some point they're going to be alone, and that's when she's really this is like the fashion show all over again, where he's Layla. Trevor Keach.
No, Sam from Birmingham.
Oh well, yeah, but this is him here as Trevor Keach being a jerk.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She walks away, and then Barry Holder checks her out as he sits down next to Steele. And he says, with scenery like that, who needs a window seat? Yeah. He comments on how he could use a little more club soda, and Steele just grins. And this is normally a guy who gets all jealous when somebody hits on Laura or what have you. But in this case, he just...
I was going to... I don't know if I should say that or not. You
Well, now you have to.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
now you have to.
Maybe I'm weird, but I would think that most guys would be somewhat proud of their wives or girlfriends being hot enough that guys hit on them or
try
to flirt with
100%.
them, unless you're really, really insecure in that relationship, because I mean,
that's what it is.
In kind of a sexist sort of way, it says, look at me, guys, I got something you want. It's mine, but you can't have it.
Well, and also in a secure and respecting your partner sort of way. If it makes them feel good about themselves, that, hey, okay, you say I'm attractive, you like the way I look, but you have to say that you're my husband, you're my boyfriend. You know, it kind of loses some of the impact when I feel like you've got to say it. But this guy over here, he doesn't have to say that. He's hitting on me. He likes it, what he's seeing. You know, that's a compliment. Yeah, I've never understood. I've literally never understood the men, and I've known a few friends who have dated guys like this who they tried to either police what they wore outside of the house because they didn't want guys looking at them, or if somebody did look at them, they'd get all jealous and I don't want you looking at my girlfriend, blah blah blah, and it just felt like that's about them. That's making it about them. I'm worried that someone's looking at her, that someone's finding her attractive. I'm worried that means she's going to see that I'm not good enough and she's going to leave me. Whereas if you have it the other way around where they're not worried about it. So their wife goes out with their friends and they're looking good and you're like, hey, have a good time, honey. And she comes home and she says, we were turning heads. They're feeling pretty proud about that because they're secure and they know that she's coming home to him. And
it's really kind of a compliment to both of them because
exactly.
she's getting complimented for her appearance and appreciated for it by somebody who doesn't have an obligation, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he's getting the compliment because look what I got, man.
And I mean, again, depending on how it's handled, because a lot of women are hit on in a way that's very uncomfortable and they don't like it.
Well, right. But I mean,
but like in general, to have that appreciation be there from separate parties, like you said, like I just don't understand the ones that are just like, oh, I don't want anybody looking at her because she's mine and I'm afraid. That screams insecurity. So here's where Steele is just kind of having a blast with it. Barry Holder has a look at Laura and
flips the switch.
To be fair, it's not something Laura is enjoying. So in that respect, she's not impressed with Steele's behavior, but he flicks the switch and she comes back with that same frozen
malicious
smile.
Flip switching.
Yes, exactly. And she says, "You buzzed, sir?" And Steele tells him that his companion has run dry. So she starts to go to get him a drink, but she doesn't get far because he calls her name again. She turns and says, "You bellowed, sir?" Yeah. Which is nice. With a smug smile, he gestures behind him and says, "My pillow?" Even more furious, she says, "Of course," then grabs a small pink pillow, punches it a few times to demonstrate what she wants to do to him in private.
Oh, yes.
And then drops it behind him and walks away, very pleased with herself.
And Steele's got kind of a, did I maybe go a little too far on that look on his face?
I definitely took that too far. Yeah, exactly. Steele turns and the man introduces himself as Barry Holder. He says he specializes in investment portfolios, strictly high yield. Steele says his name is Trevor Keach and adds that commodities are his game. Barry asks which ones, and Steele stammers, potpourri, actually. Potpourri? What?
I mean, if you're going to if you're going to throw out a line like that, at least do enough research that you can talk halfway.
Like, that's bizarre that's what he came up with, potpourri. So, yeah.
Or say, asks, I don't know the details. I have people that handle that for me.
Yeah, I'm too rich to be bothered with it. Yeah. Barry asks, "Are you into options?" And Steele says, "I keep mine open, actually." Barry laughs and he tells Steele that he has an investment opportunity that might interest him. 40% return in 2 years. Honey of a deal. Steele pretends to consider it, and then Barry says he can let it in for only $200,000. Steele comments, "That's a lot of pork bellies." And I wonder, is that a reference back to corn-fed, or is that just a general, like, is that a saying? Is that a thing people say? Like,
it's a thing that people say. I've heard the thing before, but it is kind of a interesting callback to corn-fed Steele.
Yeah, because it was pigs that they were.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that. We then see Laura go into, and I had no idea what to call this. It's a good thing I read the script because I was trying to find the word for this little space.
Galley.
And thank you, but I found it in the script. I was like, I called it in my notes. I have flight attendant nook because I had no idea what to call it.
That would be so no.
I was like, the place where the drinks are. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, it's the galley. So yeah,
can I come into your nook?
Shut up! I didn't know what to call it. It's not a kitchen. It's not, but it has like I don't know. I was like trying to find the word for it.
That is so wrong.
All right, you're just gonna shush right now. So we see Laura frustrated. She begins to make more drinks, and then we've got Lorraine who introduces herself and points to Wanda, who says it's nice to meet her. And then Sally comes in. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, in this scene, especially with these two before Sally comes in, it's pretty obvious that Laura does not fit the profile.
No.
She's petite, brunette, and both of those things would make her presence there suspicious. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have her wearing padding and a wig to fit in more with the.
Wanda's not blonde. She's like a redhead-ish color hair. But yeah, you're right. Laura kind of does stand out from the other two, because I had a hard time, to be honest, telling Sally from Lorraine in a couple of scenes. The only thing that really stood out as a difference was the hair is a bit longer on Lorraine, and Sally is maybe a little bit older, but it's definitely
they're very, very similar types, and
exactly.
I was having a little bit of trouble keeping them straight, and
because
it doesn't matter. They're interchangeable. They're.
Yeah, I had to go back and because in my initial notes I was like, the blonde one from before, the other blonde one. I had to go back and I was like, okay, that one's Sally, that one's Lorraine. So Sally comes in and says, "Emergency in the aft cabin. We are out of gin."
Wow.
Lorraine, there's an emergency right there. She tells her she usually hides a spare down here somewhere, and she opens a cupboard below where she pulls out a bottle, hands it to her, and tells her it's her lucky day. Lorraine then says, "Did you guys see Trevor Keach in 2C?" And again, here's, I guess, the validation for Laura, even though she wants to kill him right now. She's constantly getting women, anytime they go undercover, looking at Steele with basically like,
drooling.
Big drooling, those heart eyes that you see in the cartoons, like Maruga. Because we saw that in Hearts of Steel, where she supposedly, he's mine. He's mine. He was mine. Her little, the Peplers divorce, what have you. But in this case, Lorraine, did you see Trevor Keach in 2C? Wanda rolls her eyes and says she's not interested. Well, the other blonde the other blonde, that's my notes. Sally reminds her of the rules. She tells Laura that they need some coffee in the cockpit. Laura agrees, and Sally leaves. But before Laura leaves, she leans into Lorraine and questions her about the rules. Lorraine cites paragraph 15, section 8. Employees are strictly prohibited from fraternizing with passengers after hours. If you get caught, it's goodbye friendly skies. Laura smiles and says, "No layovers?" Oh, okay. Laura,
okay, technically that is a valid use of the term, but it is so fraught with
very much a double entendre. And then Lorraine says, "You got it." She adds that sometimes it's worth the risk. Lifts the tray that she's holding and says that Mr. Keach might like some dessert before he leaves. Or she leaves, sorry. She's got eyes on Steele. In the cockpit, one of the co-pilots, Freddie, tells him the Rangers are down by 2. Sorry, not the co-pilots. Freddie's the navigator. Tells him the Rangers are down by 2 as Laura comes in with the coffee. So I went down a rabbit hole here in terms of hockey, because immediately I was like, wait a minute, 1985, New York. And then there are some references to Edmonton. So I just wanted to, McBride comments, they haven't played the same since Esposito hung him up, referring to his skates. So the first thing I wanted to just mention is that he's talking about Phil Esposito, who is a Canadian or former Canadian. Well, he's still Canadian, but former ice hockey player. Former hockey player, coach, and executive, current broadcaster for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, played 18 seasons in the NHL for Chicago, Boston, and then New York, won 2 Stanley Cups with Boston. Considered to be one of the greatest players of all time. He's the older brother of late fellow Hall of Famer goaltender Tony Esposito. He became the first player to score more than 100 points in a season, with 126 in 1968-1969, a feat he would later achieve a further 5 times, also becoming the first player to score 50 goals in a season 5 times in a row, including the then record of 76 goals in the 1970-71 season, to go with then a record of 152 points in the same year. So he was a good player. Won the Art Ross Trophy as leading point scorer 5 times, led the league in goals 6 times, voted the Hart Trophy for MVP twice, was named as first team All-Star center 6 times. Yeah. He retired as a player in early 80s, I believe. At that point he was playing for New York, because he played till 1981. And then he he retired. So
Okay, so the reference is a little bit out of date.
well, I mean, not really, because Freddie's a Rangers fan, right? So he says down by 2
since Esposito quit. Yeah,
hung
okay,
up his
right.
skates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he says they haven't played the same since Esposito hung up his skates.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of where they're coming from, and they're not wrong, because New York did not do well that year, that season. So, and it's kind of funny because if this aired in December, they wouldn't have known how that hockey season would shape up, but I do. So I'll get to that later. But yeah, so that's a reference to Phil Esposito. The singing co-pilot, Biff, sees Laura and says, "Hey, pretty lady, what's your name?" Do they like make guys like him from a factory? Is there like a bland dude factory where they just pump out people like Clay and Bill? You know, like one thing you learn about this factory is that they put all kinds of mediocre men like that.
and they have these little pull strings in the back, so you pull it, and they always say the same pickup line too. You know, it's just
exactly. They're like it,
and the lines don't work. I mean.
Well, I guess they work on
maybe that's the scary part. Maybe they do work.
Because he's had every flight attendant on that plane except for Laura.
Yeah.
So they're working on somebody, just not Laura, because obviously she sees right through him. Because she tells him her name, and Laura is the face in the misty light. Ugh. Laura gives him a frozen smile again, and he asks, "How about dinner?" And she smiles and says, "How about no?" Which is really nice. She leaves, and Biff grins and says, "She's crazy about me." Freddie laughs, and you see Chuck McBride just smirk because he's like, "Yeah, no, she's really not."
he finally met somebody who turned him down cold.
Exactly. Like, yeah, definitely not impressed. So we see the plane land in New York, and Laura and the other stewardesses are walking through the airport.
Okay. I think we have a definitive visual joke here.
Okay.
I'm a little older than you, so I've seen a lot of TV shows and movies that featured stewardesses from the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And they didn't wear hats like that. So I went back and I did a little research to see if maybe I could find a reference to a photo of a stewardess from that era.
Okay.
Wearing that kind of a hat. Couldn't find it. Those hats, and I'm not going to say it's definitely designed as a joke, but I would be surprised if it wasn't, because those caps bear a very, very strong resemblance to a cap that we had in the Air Force and the Air Guard. I think their technical term was a flat cap. However, they had another name, which was synonymous with a slang term for a piece of female anatomy.
Oh, okay.
I can't say it, but phonetically it's a Charlie Uniform November Tango cap.
Okay, I'm dead. I'm never going to be able to see a hat like that again without thinking of it. I also like the fact that you use Charlie, because we just say "see you next Tuesday." But yeah. Wow. Okay.
I can't say for certain that it was an intentional joke, but I can't help but think it was.
Well, all I can tell you is that that's not how the script describes it.
It's not.
No, the script says Laura, Lorraine, Sally, and Wanda, a picture of pulchritude in their miniskirts, jackets, hats, and high heels, turn heads as they stride down the esplanade. And I gotta say, somebody who wrote this, Robin, did she have a diction, like a thesaurus? A picture of pulchritude? You couldn't just say beauty? Like,
well, now wait a minute. Hang on. Let's see.
Are you looking it up?
No, I'm looking up something else.
Oh, okay.
Frank's popsicle toes. That
Oh
was.
no, we're back to popsicle toes.
That was from 1976. So about almost 10 years prior to this episode. But I mean, if Robin Bernheim was a fan of Michael Frank's, she could have gotten that word from his song.
Okay. We'll give her that, sure.
Either that or she just ate a thesaurus when she was in college.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah. Laura declares she's exhausted, but Lorraine says, not me. It's Samba night at the Ramada. Whoa. So hop off that outlaw train,
Wow, the
Lorraine,
Ramada.
before you land us all in jail. That's some dangerous stuff there, the Ramada.
Well, the Ramada just doesn't strike. Maybe it was the place to go back in the 80s, but I mean, we've got a Ramada here in town, and trust me, it's not a place to go when you want a night out.
No disrespect to the Ramada or its parent company. Please don't sue us, but I don't think the Ramada was ever the place to go for anything. Like,
I'm thinking that their lounge was kind of very low rent.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you there. So can't miss Samba night at the Ramada, though.
No.
Sally says, "Don't you ever stop?" And Lorraine says, "You have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a handsome prince." And then Sally, she says, "Well, you would know."
Oh, that's cold. That's cold.
To which Lorraine says, "What's that supposed to mean?" And then Wanda interrupts before it obviously becomes a full-on cat fight and tells them that she's going to catch them later. She's meeting her cousin for dinner. Something about the way she says that catches Laura's curiosity. So she checks her watch and says she has to make a call. Lorraine asks her, what about the bus? Laura says she'll catch the next one. Meanwhile, we see Wanda walking through the hallway, the esplanade, whatever you want to call it, where she meets a man in a suit, which turns out to be Barry. We see Laura has followed them. She's watching them from a distance. We see them fight. We see them kiss, and they walk away together. So Laura knows that there's something going on between her and a passenger, which is a no-no. And so that's kind of like intrigued her. Meanwhile, Steele's gotten off the plane as Trevor Keach. He's lurking around the baggage area, doors with a sign that says Platinum Air personnel only. He sneaks in, pulls out a lighter. I love this. This drives me crazy. This only ever works in TV and movies, right? They go into a place that is pitch black, take out a lighter, flick the lighter on, and the whole room lights up.
Oh, sure.
Like,
works for me.
Pretty sure that's not, I find that even with your phone, when you got your phone light on, which is much brighter than a little Bic lighter, it only gives you like a couple of feet of space and everything else is still in pitch darkness. But hey, whatever. For the purposes of the script, we need to waive that.
Yes.
He begins to search around, but of course, he's knocked on the back of the neck by someone and inexplicably knocked unconscious because it's necessary for the plot.
That's right.
But we then switch over to that waiting lounge Playboy Mansion thing where Steele comes falling out of the chute. He stands up, and that must
reminiscent
have been weird
of vintage Steele.
Yeah, it must have been weird for him to get vacuumed up the chute, though. Stands up. He also seems to have a bump on his forehead despite being hit from behind, but I'm guessing that's because of the chute situation. Yeah. He stands up, hands some money to one of the employees and tells him, brown suede, leather handles, keep an eye out for me, would you? Takes a sip of the champagne being offered, and then we fade to the next scene. So I that's funny. Comedically, that's amusing. Then we get Laura, Lorraine, and Sally walking through the hotel hallway. I guess Samba night wasn't all that exciting because they're all checking into their rooms together. She passes a man who pinches her butt, and horrified, she looks at the others, but Lorraine just kind of says, "Get used to it. It comes with the uniform." That would be no. That's where I'd quit. Because
well, I'm sure that given that sort of thing was probably a bit more common back then than it is now, I'm sure they developed techniques for dealing with it. Not that they should have had to, but I'm sure that they were capable of
for sure
dealing with it as necessary.
It's just the fact that it's seen as a routine part of the job. That's is true. What's kind of horrifying about it. Because they wouldn't have been able to go to HR and say, a passenger pinched me. HR would be like, and? You know, like that's kind of your job. They literally have to weigh themselves and make sure they look a certain way. So, yeah, they're there as eye candy. That's their purpose. Well, that and serving drinks, right? So, yeah. Sally reaches her room, 105, declares it home sweet home. She says goodnight to Laura, and they keep walking. Laura stops at 108, puts her key in the door. She enters the room, turns on the light, only to be met with Biff, singing horribly off key. Come fly with me, let's fly away. So yeah, that's my attempt to be as bad as Biff. Now this was 1985, and I don't know the month that Back to the Future came out, but I don't know. Biff is not exactly a common name for a character, and he's the villain in Back to the Future. So I have no idea if this was something that they were doing intentionally, or if it was just a happy coincidence.
Well, the name Biff, it's one of those names that you would associate with somebody who has this snobbish, my daddy's rich attitude. I haven't done anything worth noting, but my daddy's rich, so that makes me important.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person you would associate with that name. So
true.
Given that kind of a mental association,
that's fair.
It's not a surprise, I guess.
She asks how he got in, and Biff says he and a desk clerk go way back. That's gross. That is gross. Like, this is a man letting himself into a woman's bedroom and the hotel turning the other way when
participating.
Not even just aiding and abetting when it could easily that's gross. This is gross.
Yeah. And just even if the hotel didn't have a problem with that sort of behavior, and didn't have a problem with letting a man into a woman's room that he has no business being in, there's a legal liability involved there. I mean, if nothing else, be mercenary about it. Think of the legal liability involved.
Right? Yeah. No, I agree. Like, usually when the moral argument doesn't sway people, the monetary one will. And you're right. This is it's not a good look. So she demands that he leave, and he starts singing again. I dream of Laura with the light brown hair. She says, I don't think you're getting the message. Biff tells her that she needs to relax. Before Laura can respond, though, Sally comes in, asking to borrow something, but she stops when she sees Biff there. And you can see on her face that she and Biff have had something, or are still having something, because she just goes very cold and says, don't let me interrupt. So
yeah, she's not happy.
Yeah. He chases after her, much to Laura's relief. She shuts the door. And a moment later, there's a knock. And fearing that Biff is back, she throws open the door and says, now listen, you sexist dog. Steele.
And she's not wrong.
No, she isn't. But poor guy, he's on the other side. He's rumpled. He's injured. And he just says, I'm all ears. Oh, she lets him in. And it's clear she hasn't really clocked the injury yet, because she says, I've had all I can take of this assignment. I've been pinched, pawed, clawed, manhandled. And then that's what happened to you.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing.
No,
Laura,
nothing.
merely a brush with death.
Yeah.
So.
Of course, that's overly dramatic, but
I mean,
what do you expect from Steele?
And at this point, he's hit over the head so much, she just goes over to the champagne, which has been chilling there, and grabs a cloth and starts, wets it, and starts dabbing at him.
Would champagne being an alcohol, that would sting a little bit, wouldn't it?
Well, if it hasn't been opened, I imagine, or it hasn't spilled into the ice, because I think she just uses the ice.
Is that what she did?
Yeah, it's in like a chilled, like iced thing, and I think she just grabbed some of the water from the ice. But if it was the actual alcohol, it would be. Maybe
she should have used that.
Well, if she's still
let
mad
me cure that for you.
His behavior earlier, she could definitely get him back that way. But he tells her that someone wanted to make damn sure he didn't go poking around the baggage claim area. Laura says, well, it wasn't Lorraine or Celery with
peanut butter.
Yeah, Sally, as they checked in with her. And it wasn't Wanda, because she left with Barry, the passenger with the investment company. As she talks, she's tending to his wounds, and He gives her a knowing look and says that he can account for the whereabouts of young Boff.
Mm-hmm.
Laura corrects him by saying Biff, and he says, well, it sounds like a brand of car wax. She tells him that leaves Captain McBride or Freddie the flight engineer. Steele gets distracted, and he begins to undo her blouse with just like no preamble.
Well,
the jacket part, but yeah, like he just kind of
but
like
still,
turns
yeah, kind of.
He's just undoing her clothes there. Like, that's okay. That's a thing. Which again,
I guess he figures he's entitled.
well, him and everybody else. But this is another thing that has been pointed to by some of the fans in the Facebook group as evidence that they are sleeping together because it's a gesture of like extreme sort of intimacy and familiarity, that he's just like undoing her clothes. But I think he's just seeing an opportunity.
Or it could just be an extreme gesture of horn dog.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, he starts to undo her jacket, tells her splendid piece of deduction. Now that they've narrowed the focus of their investigation, why don't they give the old gray matter a rest and call it a day? He goes to kiss her when the phone rings. Of course, the phone rings. She pulls away, and he laments that she didn't get an unlisted number, which doesn't make any sense because they're in a hotel.
Well, true, but she obviously told Mildred where they were at, so Mildred was able to find them, and you shouldn't have told her where we're at. Just don't call us. We'll call you. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, sorry. Sugarloaf.
I like his physical comedy as she's talking on the phone, because as she has this conversation, he's bouncing on the bed, he's loosening his tie, he's getting real comfy. He's decided that he's not leaving.
Hinting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's definite like, this is where I want to be for the entire night. So she
let's test the bed springs.
She asked Mildred if there's any luck on the ID of the body, and that's where, like you said, he's kind of doing a little bounce. Mildred tells her it's right here, asks her to hold on for a second. She says, oh, Miss Holt, I've got an ID for you. But before she can give it to them, Marvin picks up another phone and tells him it's Marvin Saltman Jr., and they have 4 aliases on the body in question. Mildred glares at him. And Steele moves back on the bed, takes his jacket off. Mildred tells Marvin she will handle this. She tells Laura that what's important is that the guy's real name was Johnny Belden. Marvin adds that he's a contract killer, hired gun. Mildred tells him to cool it and continues saying that according to her research, Belden works out of Manhattan. Marvin chimes in with, I found that out, Miss Holt. Mildred says no one cares. Besides, I found out about his trademark. Steele has now laid back on the bed. He's undoing his shirt cuffs. Laura says, what trademark? And Mildred says 2 bullet holes in the back of the neck. Now, I'm not a contract killer. I'm not one to criticize their job or how they do it, but I would think 2 bullet holes in the back of the neck is not so much a trademark as just like
standard procedure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know. I don't do the job. So if any contract killers are listening to our podcast, please write in.
Please let us know. Yeah.
We will anonymously address the response. But yeah, so
unless you want us to say your name so that you can get acknowledged.
Sure, yeah. Everybody wants to have their due.
Be proud of your work.
Marvin continues saying that it's his signature, and the organized crime branch at the NYPD says, but Mildred has had it. She stands up and says, that tears it. Laura asks if someone will please tell her what's going on, but Mildred has already gone over to where Marvin is sitting and rips the phone cord out of the wall. Did she hang up on her end as well? Because I wouldn't think that would cut them off otherwise.
Normally it wouldn't, because they would be 2 separate phones as part of the office pool of phones and connections. Yeah. And unless it was a system that was programmed in a way that every phone was dependent upon this entire system being functional.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's
kind of like Christmas lights. You get Christmas lights wired a couple different ways. One is where if one bulb goes out, the bulb went out. It's not a big deal. But then there's the kind where if a bulb goes out, the whole thing goes out.
That's a nightmare. Those sets.
Yeah, I've never heard of a phone system that would have failed like that, but I mean, it's entirely possible, I suppose.
Yeah, because Laura, she's confused. She says, I guess we were cut off. She hangs up the phone, lays down next to Steele, completely oblivious to his other intentions, and asks what a big league hitman is doing in the baggage carousel at Platinum Air. He puts his arms around her and he says, "Not much, I assume."
Okay. Yeah, you're right. But the question is, what was he doing before he got into the baggage claim?
Yeah. I think he knows that, but he's got other things on his mind at this point. So.
Oh yeah.
And let's just say all the blood is not flowing up; it's flowing down. So. Meanwhile, we see Biff returning to Laura's room with a shiner. Like Sally has hauled off and decked him. Which, here's the thing: normally, I mean, I don't agree with assault. But
unless it's a salt and pepper.
Oh no! I'm going to say in Biff's case,
you don't have a problem with it.
No, I mean he's the kind of guy that would like slip something into your drink at a bar. You know, he's not the kind of person that you trust is going to leave when you ask him to leave. So
yeah, and you would have to almost get a little bit forceful with him to get him to leave. I mean, after all, look what happened with Laura. He wasn't going to leave until she showed up.
And he was in her room. Like that's so gross. Yeah. So yeah, he's coming back. He's been punched in the face. Oh, poor Biff. And he leans down to let himself in again, despite being told repeatedly to get out. Mm-hmm. And that's when he overhears Steele saying he's too weak to move tonight. And then,
well, if he's too weak to move and leave the room, and he's too weak to move and do anything else.
Well, I think he'd
find the energy for that.
You know, yeah. It's like the dessert pouch. You know, when you're full, but you've still got room for dessert. That's the little pouch in your stomach that holds the dessert. So yeah, this is his. I don't want to say sex pouch, but that's what entered my head. I'm sorry.
I thought that was Laura's.
Anyway. Oh no. Everything's gone into the gutter today. And speaking of the gutter, he suggests he pitch his tent here tonight. Yeah. That one got past standards and practices. I love the fact that this is a woman scriptwriter who's written in all of these like kind of crude innuendos. I like that. Pitch his tent here. Yeah. He grins at her, sensing he's found her weakness, but we cut again to where Biff is. He's hearing them kiss, and Laura flirtatiously says, "Recharge your batteries," so to speak. Steele's getting the impression that he's managed to get past her defenses, but then Laura says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Steele. Company policy, remember? You wouldn't want me to lose my job." Oh, she leans back, and he knows he's been dismissed. Sitting up, not impressed, he heads toward the door. With a small smirk, he throws his jacket over his shoulder and says, "I wish I weren't so damn dedicated."
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure anybody would accuse him of being too dedicated.
No, I definitely don't think.
Well, at least not to the job. Maybe to the
other job
tent
that
pitching, but
he had attempted to get. But and here's where, like, again, I think that if they were actually sleeping together, I don't see why she would throw him out, aside from maybe blowing their cover. But yeah. So she wishes him sweet dreams, and he leaves. And then on the return flight, we see Laura with a tray of food getting intercepted by Biff, who is wearing sunglasses. He wears his sunglasses
at night
because he's been hit in the face. No. So yeah, he tells her that Laura has been a naughty girl, and she asks if anyone has ever told him that he's incredibly obnoxious. And then Biff tells her to be nice to the old Bifferino. Ugh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. He's worse than, I don't know. I think he's, in some ways, he's no, I don't. It's a tie between him and Butch Bemis at this point. Like,
yeah.
Be nice to the old Bifferino.
At least with Butch, it's how to say it. With Butch, that's who he is, and so you're not really surprised. With Biff, it's like it's almost a costume that he puts on.
Yeah, and it's very gross. It's just
yeah.
Or he might spill the beans. So he's basically now attempting to forcibly
Blackmail her.
coerce her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you better sleep with me or I'm going to let you lose your job. Like, what a piece of crap. He is just a piece of crap. I hope he falls out of the air. Like,
I almost filled in the word for you when you said he's a real
yeah.
real Tom, Dick, and Harry.
And he's playing with her hair as he says this too, right? And she says, "What beans?" And Biff says, "Breaking training, passenger in your room." Laura's not intimidated. She tells him to put a sock in it. Boff.
Biff.
It's Biff. Good comeback. Way to go.
Yeah.
Sick burn, dude.
Well, you told her off.
You really told her. Meanwhile, Steele is letting Lorraine give him a tour. She's brought him in to see the cockpit. And this is where I have some more hockey trivia here.
Okay.
Because Freddie turns around and asks if it's his first time with them, and Steele says he jetted in yesterday. And trying to kind of get some information from the case, he asked Freddie if he saw him last night. And Freddie says, "Not unless he was at the Garden last night. Rangers played the Oilers. I don't miss the Rangers for nothing." So I looked up the 85-86 season because basically the 80s belonged to the Edmonton Oilers. They were on one hell of a streak. And that was when Wayne Gretzky was playing for them. So this was like, so I was kind of curious. I couldn't find out whether or not they actually played a game when this episode would have aired. I couldn't, that information was not, I didn't dive that deep. But the 85-86 Edmonton Oilers season was the Oilers' 7th season in the NHL. So they were a fairly new team. They were coming off back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. Edmonton won the inaugural President's Trophy as they finished with 119 points, which was a league high, and tied the franchise record, which was set in 1983-84. The Oilers won the Smythe Division for the 5th consecutive season, were heavy favorites to win their 3rd straight Stanley Cup, and it was also the 5th consecutive season in which they scored at least 400 goals. However, the Oilers were defeated by the Calgary Flames in the second round. So they didn't win the Calgary Flames.
Okay, I really don't know hockey, but I've heard a lot of the team names, but I've never heard that one.
Really?
Do they still exist?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You go to Calgary, and it's a big rivalry too, because Edmonton, the two cities are in Alberta, and there's already sort of a ideological divide between Edmonton and Calgary, in the sense that like Edmonton tends to lean more liberal, Calgary tends to lean more conservative. So if you there's like it's kind of like Montreal and Toronto too. Like there's a rivalry. So yeah, Calgary Flames have been around for a long time. I actually got so I used to work for a hotel company in the call center, and I would book hotel rooms. People would call thinking they were getting the hotel, but they'd be getting a call center. And I was the one. It was for the Sheraton brand, which has now been bought out by I don't remember the name of the company that bought them out. It was another big chain that bought them out. But anyway, I once booked a hotel for Shea Weber, who played for Calgary at the time, and he was a pretty I don't know if he's still playing. I think he is, but he was a big hockey player at the time, and his agent was called me because we had an NHL rate. So anytime somebody was booking one room for their players, they would ask for the NHL rate. So this guy calls and he says he's booking for Shea Weber, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So he asked for and it was in Calgary, so they were obviously there for a home game. Asked for the NHL rate. I gave it to him. It was like $250 a night, which for a Sheraton was not bad. Or I think it was one of their other brands that was like a little more high end, but it was a Westin. That was it. And so I gave him the NHL rate, and the agent's like, "Do you have anything cheaper?" And I'm like, "My guy, your client makes millions. You can afford this." He didn't say that, but I was like, "Well, sir, you can try the, the CA rate or the whatever rate, or I went through my list of rates so they could check." But so yeah,
you could call down to the Y and see if they've got a corner for him.
Yeah, that's kind of. It was just sort of a funny why are you trying to haggle with me? You're representing
Really?
a multi-million anyway. But that particular season was, despite the fact that I don't think they won the cup that season. Wayne Gretzky was the guy at that point. He set an NHL record here in 215 points, 163 assists, breaking records that had previously been set. He won a 6th Art Ross Trophy, 7th Hart Trophy. He was crushing it. So, and the Edmonton actually got into the final last year. They didn't win, but they haven't won a Stanley Cup since the 80s, so it would have been nice. Anyway, so it's just kind of funny because he says he doesn't miss the Rangers for nothing, but there's a good chance that the Oilers beat them. Not to be deterred, Steele leans in and says, perhaps it was Captain McBride. And when he doesn't answer, Steele apologizes and says, good day. And obviously you can see the look on McBride's face because he's the one that hit him in the baggage area. So he's thinking that they're closing in on his black market pastrami business. But I have some thoughts about when we get there. And Wanda, meanwhile, she walks over to Laura with a tray of drinks and she kind of drops it, spilling the juice or liquor or whatever's in the drink. Laura assures her it's just a glass, but she sees how upset she looks. Wanda leans down and she sort of crouches down to help her clean it up and apologizes that she's a bit shaky these days. Laura says, it's that passenger, Barry Holder, isn't it? Wanda looks shocked and asks how she knows about Barry. Laura admits she saw them in the hotel. Wanda begs her not to say anything, and Laura assures her that it's none of her business, and she starts to tell her that she's here if Wanda ever wants to talk, but Sally interrupts them, telling them to move as there are passengers with empty glasses out there. She just, every time she... Move it, ladies. There's passengers with empty... Oh, my God, empty glasses! Won't somebody think of the children?
Yes, it's all about the kids. I imagine she is the lead stewardess, and so she feels that she's got to keep everybody on their toes because otherwise it'll be her job. Yeah,
and she's also obviously clearly ticked off at Laura because...
Well, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Boff.
So, about Boff, yeah. So and here's something interesting because this line was changed in the script, or it was changed from in the script. So I'm just trying to find it here because here it is. In the script, when she encounters Sally, Sally says to Laura, stay away from Biff. You keep playing with matches, you might get burned. And in the finished episode, she says, stay away from Biff or somebody might just clip your wings, which makes more sense given the whole flight thing. Like, it's a better line. So I'm curious as to how that change happened, where that change happened, because that's not what's in the script. So,
of course, the script that we've got is from July 15. So that's quite some time before the episode actually aired. So there was a lot of time for it to go through a lot of rewrites. Although surprisingly, it didn't change a huge. Yeah.
There's like the odd line or two that's changed, but not even enough for me to mention. So that was the only thing that I kind of saw. That's the only one that jumped out at me because what ended up there is better. Yeah. Fits the whole flight.
They changed the airline name too. Yeah. So I mean, just minor things. Yeah.
Yeah. Laura is speechless with just how much she doesn't care about Biff. It's just one of those like, you're warning me. No problem. I have no intention of going anywhere near Biff. I'm good. I'm speechless with not caring.
Yes.
So there's that. Yeah. She starts to walk away. Passing by, passenger pinches her butt.
Sure.
Oh, so she's already ticked off when she goes over to Steele and gives him his club soda. In a quiet voice, she asks if there's anything to report. And he tells her the salmon was a trifle salty. I mean, when you think about it, he has to, poor guy's got to sit on a luxury airline and fly to and from. It's got to be. Whereas she's like literally getting us physically harassed, sexually harassed. Like it's, She testily asks him anything else. He tells her that Freddie appears to have an alibi. Again, all he has is Freddie's word that he was at Madison Square Garden. Like, he's got no proof he was there.
Right.
So I guess that's why he says appears to have an alibi as opposed to he definitely has an alibi because, and he bets McBride is their man. As someone walks by, Steele takes a big sip and angrily says, "Miss, this has a lime. I wanted a lemon." So he's really overcompensating. So Laura tries her best to sound polite and says, "But you asked for a lime, sir." And to which Steele replies, "Yes, but now I want a lemon." Which,
the sad part is that there are really customers like that.
Yes, there are.
Restaurants or whatever. I know what I said, but it's your fault that I didn't order what I wanted. So
Yep. Yep. And because I worked in customer service, I can 100% attest to that. These people are out there, and you have to do your best not to murder them, because that's apparently illegal. So
It is?
yeah, apparently it is illegal to kill people that are complete jerks to staff.
I thought that it was okay in some places.
Yeah, no, sadly it's not. Maybe in Alaska, I don't know. But what's funny about this exchange is that literally every time I go to the grocery store, when I see the lemons, I think, now I want a lemon. That's my little speech today, because yeah. Okay. She leans down and she says, "Aren't you taking this a bit too far?" He smiles smugly and says, "Just thinking of our cover, Laura." And this is where she gives in to temptation. She thinks about it for about half a second. And then it says in the script, accidentally on purpose, drops the drink in his lap. Which I really appreciate. That it even clarifies that in the script. It's accidentally on purpose. Laura spills the drink in his lap. Good for you, Laura. He deserved it.
Yes.
She pretends to apologize profusely. She kind of wipes at his leg for a minute, then goes to get him a napkin. And the look on Brosnan's face is just, again, chef's kiss for the comedy of it, because he's just so mad, and you got to think he's going to have to get
teeth.
off. He's going to have to get off this plane with his pants wet, looking like he soiled himself.
Yeah.
Good for you, Laura.
You know, I've had things like that happen. One of the worst ones was, it wasn't even that. I was in probably, I don't know, 6th or 7th grade, and we were driving to the doctor's office, and the doctor's office was like 100 some odd miles away, because we lived in a little small town in the middle of nowhere. And to get to it, you had to drive over these roads that were up and down and up and down and up and down. And I was sitting in the front seat, and my 2 sisters were in the back. And at one point, the older of my 2 sisters leans forward to tell my mom, "I don't think I'm feeling too."
Oh, no.
All over me.
Oh, no.
And we were on the way to the doctor. We weren't even on the way back. Oh, yeah, that was not.
That sucks.
I sympathize with Steele.
Well, I mean, I do to a point. He had that one coming. Like,
yeah, but still, it's.
You didn't deserve that, but Steele kind of
deserved
that. Back at the offices, we see Laura and Steele return, and Laura says that she hopes Mildred's made some progress. But when they enter the office, all they hear is Mildred and Marvin bickering about whether Steele would prefer coffee or tea. The phone rings. Mildred and Marvin both sprint to it.
Did you skipped over the line, I think. Where? No, I guess it's it didn't make it into the episode.
Yeah, this. Your coffee tastes like battery acid.
Yeah, Mildred, I'll make the coffee around here. Marvin, your coffee tastes like battery acid. Mildred, too strong for you, huh? Well, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. They should have left that in.
They should have left that in. That was funny. I agree. They sprint to the phone. Marvin gets there first. He picks it up and says, "Remington Steele Investigations." And then Mildred pretends he hasn't spoken at all, and she says, "Remington Steele Investigations, can I help you?" Marvin says, "Go ahead, please." They both pause and look at the phone, and Mildred accusingly says, "He hung up, bright guy." And Marvin retorts that he answered first. Laura looks at Steele and says,
it's not my job. I was hired as a personal valet. But yeah, it's I answered first.
Yeah, literally.
What are you, 5?
Yeah, exactly. And Laura, though, looks at Steele because she knows this is his doing and says, "I hope you're proud of yourself," before she whistles to get their attention. I can't do that. Can you whistle like that?
No.
Okay, I've never been able to do that, and people have tried to teach me, but I guess something that you can't really describe either, because it. Yeah, I don't know.
You got to stick your fingers in your mouth and it doesn't work for me.
So I'm kind of jealous of people that can do that. I can't do it. So she gets their attention. She walks over to them, tells them neutral corners. She tells Marvin to go into Steele's office and Mildred into hers. Mildred protests, but Laura says, "Now," in a voice that brooks no argument. Laura looks at Steele and tells him that Mr. Slotman is history. He can break into him any way he wants. Steele nods and goes into his office while Laura goes into hers. She closes the door.
Whamp, whamp, whamp.
Yeah, and Mildred begins to say, I'm sorry, Miss Holt, but if that pipsqueak is going to be here, Laura cuts her off and lets her know that Marvin has been terminated. Mildred looks surprised and then says, oh, good. And kudos here to Laura, because she, and I'm not saying they handle it beautifully later.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, there's two things going on at once when they have that blow up. But here she sees that Marvin is directly undermining Mildred's place, that he's causing disruption,
Mm-hmm.
that he's here for Steele's vanity and nothing more, and that she's going to do the right thing and make sure that Mildred feels valued and respected, because she knows that that's not how Mildred's obviously feeling at this point, because she's been dealing with Marvin since they left. So thumbs up to Laura here.
You know, it's sad to say, though, that in a lot of circumstances, Mildred would be the one getting called out onto the carpet.
Yeah, in any other workplace.
Why are you making a big deal of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually people who say, why are you making a big deal of it, are the people making the big deal of it.
Or causing the big deal and then
Yes.
being defensive about it when somebody else calls them on their behavior, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously ridiculous in this particular circumstance. But Mildred is a valued, she's family, and Laura sees her as family. She doesn't want to see Mildred hurt or undermined.
And not only that, but she is a permanent employee.
Yeah.
Marvin is just at best an intern. He's not really even that, because he's, like you said, he's a vanity project. But at best, he's only there for a very, very short period of time. And you know what, Marvin? It's your job to fit in, not our job to accommodate you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So Laura's she's not having it. She assures Mildred that he's gone. And unfortunately, she's not there to stick around to ensure that happens, which is how it kind of spirals. But
because she made the mistake of trusting Steele to handle
it. She should have
get rid of his vanity project.
She should have been the one that went in and said, I'm sorry, Marvin, it's not working out.
You're gone.
Have a nice life. Goodbye. But instead, she leaves it to Steele, who, as you said, coward. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Laura asks Mildred if she's come up with any reason someone would want to smuggle a dead hitman on an airplane. And Mildred admits that sounds like an opening to a joke. A dead hitman falls out of a baggage chute on an airline. Mildred admits she's got bupkis. Laura crosses her arms, telling her as soon as Mr. Steele is through, they'll get to the bottom of it. Steele, meanwhile, is trying to find the right way to fire Marvin.
Without firing him.
Without firing him. Yeah, he starts by this long rambling. There comes a time in every relationship when a gap, some may say a vast chasm, develops. Like, what are you talking about? And then,
it's the kind of thing where, and politicians are really great at this. You ask a question and they start spouting off stuff, because a lot of people will hear them spouting and say, well, he answered the question. No, he didn't. He just gave a response.
Yeah.
Gave a response. That's not the same thing as answering the question. And that's kind of what Steele's doing here, is he's not really wanting to say what he's supposed to say. So he says everything but that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that actually, again, not to get into anything specifically controversial, but our provincial government recently, it came out that they were about to pass a bill that would basically eliminate rent control in every way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to put in this kind of backdoor to eliminate rent control by basically ending security of tenancy. Because you know how you sign a 1-year lease and then after that it's month to month? They would basically allow the landlord to get rid of you after that for no reason whatsoever. So obviously that got a lot of attention in the media. I don't even think they expected that to get noticed, but it did. And they were forced to walk it back. And so in question period, one of the opposing MPPs asked him flat out, you've walked it back for now, but can you promise in the future that you will not be making any changes to rental security at all? And he did exactly what you said, talked around it. We're trying to make more spaces for people to rent. We need more buildings. We need more landlords, blah, blah, blah. Didn't answer the question, but at least they called him on it. They were like, that wasn't an answer, Mr. Ford. Yeah. And this is Steele's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to talk around firing him, like a chasm, a gap, whatever. Like, you're not. But then Marvin's watch beeps, looks at his clipboard, and tells him the alterations on his new suit are done. He reminds Steele that his haircut is at 4 tomorrow, and the theater was sold out of tickets for Saturday night, but he persuaded the manager to give him the VIP box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a.
I mean, if Marvin was a woman, Steele would already be sleeping with him at this point. Like, let's be clear here. He's done everything that Steele would want he's got So he apologizes for interrupting, and Steele backtracks, saying sometimes chasms aren't as fast as they seem.
Yeah.
Tells him to carry on. Walks towards the door, pauses, grins, and says, VIP box, eh? Steele. So as they get into the elevator, Laura asks how he took it, and Steele says, well, under the circumstances. She asks when he's leaving, and Steele pauses and says 6 to 8 weeks. She gives him a look, and he says, what? Every employee needs decent notification. 2 weeks, Steele. That's usually 2, not 6 to 8.
and you can bypass all of that for cause.
Yeah, which I don't think they necessarily have in this particular case, because
but he's an intern. He's
well, that's the thing. They don't even have to give cause for an intern.
Exactly.
It's not even,
yeah, especially if he's an unpaid intern because he's doing it for credit.
Yeah, we don't even know at this point if there was a paycheck involved. I'm guessing not, though. So
no, probably credit for a class or something,
yeah.
Or getting in good with the teacher so I can get an A.
Yeah. Or
I can think of other ways to do that. If it were a female teacher, sorry, didn't say that.
I mean, he has the glasses, but they're not working the same way.
It's not working for me. Not working for me at all.
Meanwhile, the other elevator doors open and a man gets off. He goes into the office, and Mildred and Marvin both ask if they can help him. The man asks for Steele, and Mildred says he just missed him. Marvin offers to be of assistance, adding that he is Mr. Steele's personal attaché. Ugh, somebody punch him.
So at least he's sort of honest at this point in acknowledging that he doesn't actually do anything for the agency. He's a personal hire.
He's an errand boy. He's an errand boy. And this is where Mildred screws up. And you genuinely feel bad for her, because Mildred's usually so on the ball when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, she doesn't give the information out to those guys pretending to be FBI. Right. And she's usually very, very tight-lipped with agency information and all this sorts of things. So it's not like Mildred has made mistakes like this before. She's made other mistakes, but like this kind of stuff she's usually pretty good with. It's just that she's so worked up by Marvin's presence, and she's feeling so disrespected and so pushed out and so like just invisible that she forgets. She drops the ball.
She hates him so much that she will do anything, no matter how out of bounds it is, simply because she hates him.
But she's got kind of a cause to. Like, this is a kid that's come in and basically just disrespected her job, has not shown her, like,
you can understand her frustration, but she's letting it get the better of her,
sure.
And she's making decisions based on the fact that she just hates this naughty-nosed little punk. Yeah.
And I mean, who hasn't done that? But she screws up. She screws up big time here, because the man looks intrigued, introduces himself as Adam Bentley from Time magazine. He tells him they're doing a story on the country's leading detective agencies, the biggies, and he adds that it could be his first cover. Are you sure Mr. Steele isn't here? Mildred apologetically says, gone with the wind. He looks disappointed, saying he really wanted to include the Steele agency in his report, but he has a deadline. Margarine. That's his name. From now on, he's Margarine. Bland and not quite butter.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Can't believe it's not butter. Can't believe it's Marvin. Marvin offers to chat in his office. Mildred reminds him that he doesn't have an office. Bentley smells blood and says, well, I really have to talk to someone in the know. I need facts, background information. And that's what That's the hook.
That did it.
Poor Mildred. She's so desperate to have some validation that she is respected.
Yeah.
That she has a place in this office that's not just getting coffee and fawning over Mr. Steele, that she smiles widely, takes him by the arm, and says that she can give him background. She's been here since the beginning. Well, almost the beginning. Keeps talking. Marvin attempts to follow as they go into Steele's office, but she shoves him back, telling him, "Hit the road, Junior."
I like
Which is
that.
funny. Yeah. The airport bar is called The Final Approach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is a choice.
I mean, we've got a pizza place that is straight down the road from our airport, and it's called Flight Deck Pizza. I mean, you see these things all the time, these kind of obvious naming tropes,
Hey, at least they didn't call it the landing strip. That's all I'm gonna say. That's
I wonder
probably
if that
the
was in the
strip club down the road.
I wonder if that was one of the early drafts.
That would have been funny. Laura and Steele go looking for McBride. At this point, they're supposed to have a cover, so it doesn't really make sense that Steele would be going into this bar, because Lorraine even sees she's really surprised to see Trevor in the bar. Laura, it makes sense for her to go, sure, because she works there, but if
she's aircrew, yeah.
Which isn't, I mean, it's not to say that the bar is not checking IDs and saying, "Oh, you don't work for the airline, get out." But it's clearly an air.
Not the kind of place Trevor would go to.
Like civilians
typically
wouldn't just be walking into the bar, because it's obviously it's like a police bar, where the cops
unless
all go
his
to.
cover was that he was looking for the blonde.
True, but
She
they came in
was so
together,
nice.
so it's kind of it looks like they're together, which would
that's
cause
true.
Laura to lose her job. So it's kind of odd, but. She sees McBride, says bingo, and walks over to him. Steele kind of moves to follow, which is weird, because you get the impression that if Laura's going to hit on him, she probably wouldn't want
Third
Steele
wheel.
hovering over. But this is where Lorraine spots him and calls out to Trevor, asking what he's doing there. He tells her he's developed a sudden thirst. Laura walks over to McBride. She runs her hand up his leg and tells him that she's a sucker for a man in uniform. She turns his chair to face her. Sorry, you were going to say something there. So
No. Just, careful where you put that hand.
Right, but then she says that she's always wondered what life was like in the cockpit.
that
Wow.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay. That one. Yeah. Gonna swing the other direction on that one.
Yep. He grins, telling her, "Baby, I could write a book." And she says she's an avid reader.
Yeah.
He suggests they start the first chapter. Steele is watching them from a distance, clearly not happy about it. But Lorraine is desperately trying to keep his attention. And so we've got way more puns here. She asks to let her him to let her throttle his engines. I'm no expert here, okay? But as far as innuendos go, this one sounds painful. This does not sound pleasurable.
No, it could have been worse if she'd grabbed his flight stick, but
oh yeah, exactly, right? Like it's
of course, in a plane there is a phrase where if you throw the throttle all the way forward because of the okay, how to get myself out of this? There used to be
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rock bottom. We have now arrived there. Your exits are to the right and to the left.
It actually had a legitimate meaning when it was first created, but it was to the wall. The round things to the wall.
The balls to the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I heard about that in a different podcast, because there was a phrase, somebody had said balls to the wall, and then they were like, I wonder where that comes from. And they looked it up and found that
Aviation,
out. So
yeah.
It was literally like actual balls, not
yes.
the other kind.
Not the
Not the other kind.
yeah, not the testicle type.
Yeah.
Although they look like that, which is
Yes.
probably one of the reasons why. Yeah.
So
Anyway,
That's random, but yeah.
Somebody
so
get a
she-
hose and just hose
One of
us
those-
down.
One of those hooks that you put around the neck to pull them off stage. Yeah. Shepherd's crook. That's what it's called.
Yes.
So he tells her he's out of gear and attempts to look back at Laura. But Lorraine, similar to Biff, is not taking no for an answer. She says she can fix that and turns his face to hers and just kisses him. She's just like, meh. He tries to break away, but we see Laura leaving with McBride as he's sort of attempting to pry Lorraine off of him. To his credit, he does attempt to just extricate himself. He turns and he attempts to get away, but then he bumps into a man who's obviously with Lorraine, who tells him to take a hike. Steele says gladly.
Okay,
like,
now
yep,
so Boff can't two-time Lorraine, but Lorraine can two-time Boff.
Pretty well, actually, it was Sally that was. You're mixing up your blondes. Sally was the one. Yeah. Sally was the one that gave Boff the shiner.
They I mean, they could be
look the
twins.
same.
They could
you're
be
right.
twins, which could be another another innuendo.
But yeah, no, it was Sally with Boff,
Okay.
and Lorraine was, I guess, with this guy who's Carl, because she grabs him and she tells him now here's where I think that she secretly wants Trevor Keach dead, because she grabs Carl and tells him to get lost, adding that Trevor is more of a man than you'll ever be.
I'm
He's
sorry,
sensitive.
that's just asking.
What?
Would you punch him in the face, please?
Right? Like, he's more of a man than you'll ever be. He's sensitive. But to be fair, this is one of my favorite moments for Steele, because Carl goes, really? And then Steele says, actually, Carl, I can be quite callous.
Yeah, it reminds me of an episode of Home Improvement. Oh, no.
How come I get the Buffy rolling the eye and the groan, but when you mentioned the Home Improvement stuff, anyway.
And now it's gone. I can't remember.
Sorry.
What it was, but it was what was it?
The hamsters on the
It's
wheel.
gone. The wheel fell off.
Yeah. But yeah, just actually, Carl, I can be quite callous. I'm like, wow, good burn, Steele. Real, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jill and Tim were talking, and she makes some comment about how women like sensitive men, and he makes the comment that you women always say that, but then you end up going home with a skier named Dolph or something like that.
Or Boff.
Or Boff, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Women always say they want the sensitive man, but they always go for the brainless jock style. Yeah.
Well, not always. My husband's not a brainless jock style. However, Steele, Carl.
You have to say that because you're married to him.
Yes, I'm lying. Carl literally picks up Steele. Like, this is not he just lifts him and tosses him. Yeah. Steele lands and then says, all right, do we all feel better now? But Carl
that probably wasn't a good thing to say either, but
no, none of this was a good. He punches him, Steele falls down, and then outside with McBride, it rhymes. He tells Laura she's going to love the jacuzzi. She tells him it sounds delicious. And she kind of turns away and starts like, I think she's kind of like wondering what happened to Steele because she's looking at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And as she wanders towards it, we see a newsstand with a newspaper headline that reads, Platinum Air, Meat Wagon in the Sky. How did that get there so fast? Like, the subheading says Secretary tells all, but like, I'm sorry, this is the same day.
Yeah.
You're telling me they wrote the story, printed the story, and got all the newspapers onto the newsstand in a few hours?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they can be pretty quick. But that headline sounded familiar to me. And I tried to do a search on it, and I didn't find it. But I was thinking, it was a reference maybe to a news story about politicians or sports figures flying on private planes with their female entourage,
Yeah.
So I didn't find that, but I did find something. I did find a reference to the Kentucky meat shower.
Oh, no, I don't know if I want to know this.
Bath County. This is a combination of two news articles from a couple of Lexington, Kentucky TV stations.
Okay.
Bath County is a small east county of Lexington, known for its beautiful outdoor scenery and rich history. However, Bath County, specifically Olympia Springs, is home of the Kentucky Meat Shower. On March 3rd of 1876, Mrs. Rebecca Crouch was outside with her grandson, and out of the clear blue sky, meat started to rain down.
Okay.
They gathered up what was remaining, and they say it was a horse wagon full. And I think everyone knows what that means.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And the guy, the person being quoted here is a professor at the Transylvania University there in Kentucky. And he says that I think they ate it.
Wow.
Now, there's some theories that researchers have on what kind of meat it is and how it got up in the air to be distributed like this. And one possibility was an upspout, which is a weather pattern of the sort where winds will pick up things like small fish or frogs out of lakes and such.
Right. Yeah.
And then lay them down in another place. And another theory is involving vulture vomit, which this professor seems to think is probably the real possibility. Now, a slice of the meat was saved from the phenomenon and has been under the care of Transylvania University. And in August 2024, the Bath County Historical Museum got the return of the sliver of meat back to its original meat locker. And in March of 2025, a festival was held to educate people about the event and let them see the meat for themselves. Organizers say that nearly 500 people showed up, and the event had food vendors, crafts, and a mystery meat chili cook-off.
Oh, dear God.
and the assistant curator of the festival said, I think the Meat Shower Festival and the whole incident is one of the lasting legacies of our county. It's one of the enduring mysteries of the world, and to be known for something like that worldwide, you've even got celebrities to talk about it on TV.
Well, that's officially going to go on my list as places I don't want to go. No offense to Bath County, but anything involving the words meat shower and vulture vomit, I'm good. I can safely skip that. Keep that off my bucket list. Oh my God, that is the worst story I've ever heard. Thank you.
I mean, I had to look. It was like, no, come on, but no, it's a real thing. It's not. This is not National Enquirer stuff, even though it sounds like it is.
That definitely does sound like gross. Anyway, McBride sees the newspaper and he looks angry. Inside, Steele is still getting his ass handed to him by Carl. So then we see Laura. She walks back over to McBride as his car. Now, the script has it as a Datsun. I don't know if that's actually what it is because I couldn't tell by the.
It looks like a Z. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
it would have been like a 280Z, 260Z, 240Z.
It's the second time we've seen a Datsun featured in this because Bill drove one too, I think.
One thing you'll learn about me.
Yeah. They like their Datsuns. She gets in, and so does McBride, and they drive away. And Steele inside, still fighting. He finally gets a good punch on Carl, and then tells them that he and Lorraine make a perfect couple before walking out. He gets outside just in time to see McBride's car driving away.
Yeah, I just had a thought because I was, as you were talking, I was following along in the scene. I have heard of, I don't know if it's as common as it's supposedly been presented as being, but I have heard of women who do provoke their boyfriends into getting angry and beating up somebody because it's an ego thing. They play the naughty girl so their boyfriends can see it, and then the boyfriends get mad and punch out the guy, and that turns them on, I guess.
Yeah.
And it just kind of occurs to me that maybe that's what this is supposed to be implying here.
It could be, because that sort of seems like the female equivalent of the I'm insecure because somebody looked at you thing.
It could be.
Right? Like I want a big, strong man, so I'm going to pretend to put my attention elsewhere so that you rush to my rescue or play the white knight or what have you. Poor
or
Steele.
the jealous
Yeah.
boyfriend. Yeah.
If that's the case, poor Steele, though.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, McBride brings her inside of his house, the most beige house ever created. If Platinum Air is the pinkest airline, his place is the beigest of beige. Like, everything's beige. The carpet's beige. The walls are beige. The furniture's beige. Like,
yeah,
what a boring guy. He asks her if she's been with Platinum Air long. She replies a couple of months. He asks her how she likes the London route. Real bare, isn't it? He dims the lights as he's saying this, and she says, absolutely. There's her mistake.
Laura, you should have done your homework.
Yeah, or she should have sidestepped it, right? Like if she had,
I didn't know we had one en route.
Or even just, this is a beautiful couch. Where did you get it? Like pretend he hasn't spoken at all, because this screws her over. He walks over to her, takes her in his arms, and says, "It's funny, we don't have a London route." Which instantly she knows she's in trouble. She tries to get away. She runs for the door, but he grabs her by the hair, asking what kind of game she's playing, Miss Private Detective. And she counters that he's the one who's going to need to give her some answers, starting with why he killed Johnny Belden. This is one of those situations where it's just, I'm watching this, and this is obviously TV, because she's going to get out of it. Because if it were me, I would be thinking, I've just gone home with somebody who could be a killer. And I'm in the house with this person, likely without the agency gun, because let's be clear, they never have that on them.
Yeah.
And he could easily overpower her. Like,
this is a situation that reminds me of my daughter. She had been studying, I don't remember what it was called now, but basically to be like a security guard, a prison guard, corrections.
Right.
And I think I've mentioned this before, and if I have, then as a refresher, she is very, very petite.
Yep.
Barely stands 5 feet, maybe 100 pounds soaking wet after a full meal. And they were doing some mock interviews, which actually weren't quite as mock as they presented them as being, because they were doing some, they had people from various corrections organizations and facilities coming in, talking to them to do mock interviews, but to try and get a feel of who they might be interested in hiring. And the interviewer asked my daughter, because eventually they said, you're just, you're not the type of person we would look for because of your physical stature. And they apparently asked her a question, well, what would you do if this situation, and it's kind of like this, where somebody's got you by the throat and whatever. And she says, I'd warn them. I guess the person looked at her and said, warn them what? I go for what I can reach.
That's good. And I mean, I'm not saying that Laura can't defend herself, but it's just, she keeps putting herself in these situations where she's vulnerable.
You just walk into it. She didn't do her homework, so that let her get into this situation even deeper than she should have been.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So and then he says he doesn't know a Johnny Belden. He's totally confused. She says, you knew him well enough to stuff him in that duffel. This is where he lets her go. He's like, I had nothing to do with that. She doesn't believe him, but she says, I'll bet you didn't know he was a contract killer either. And McBride backs off saying, hey, wait a minute. So he's, at this point, he's like, hey, no. But this is where Steele bursts through the door. He kicks it open. I bet he was so excited to do that too. He's like, oh, I get to kick it open. He tells McBride it's all over as he throws Laura at Steele and makes him run for it. Laura says, nice work, before going after him. And Steele's like, what kind of things is that? And as they chase him, Laura's like, he was about to tell me everything. And Steele sarcastically says, well, pardon me for trying to save your neck. She looks around. Right? Like at least he showed up. And then sees McBride. He's, I guess, trying to get out of he's back around the pool, and I guess the gate's not opening, so he can't get it open. So he runs the other way, where Laura's able to intercept him and then tackle him, and basically the two of them end up in the pool.
Good thing she wasn't wearing a t-shirt.
Well, actually,
it might have improved the ratings.
No, actually, like if you see her in the next scene, the reason why the towel is situated where it is because you can see right through her arm. Like her blouse was white,
Uh-huh.
That's a see-through blouse. If that towel had not been there,
Oh, these days that's not a big deal. I mean, it's Hollywood runways, you know.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like that blouse that she's wearing is quite literally see-through when it's wet, so that wouldn't have mattered whether she had a t-shirt on or not. When she comes out, it's yeah. She surfaces. She listens by the
Contest
shirt.
anyone?
And asks, "Now, what is this all about?" Now, this next scene, are they in his house or are they in the plane or where are they?
No, they're in a warehouse somewhere. It looks like,
Okay, because I guess I could have checked the script because I wasn't.
or maybe
Sure.
a storage.
Let's see here.
Thing.
The Datsun's brought around. They get to his apartment. He's in his condo. He gets away. Okay, close on McBride's condo. So they're in the spare bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. I should have just checked that.
It was
yeah.
a pretty plain room, so it was hard to.
Yeah, I couldn't
Make out what it-
couldn't
what
quite
it
figure
would
out where
have
they
been.
were supposed to be.
Yeah.
McBride pries open one of these they've got a ton of crates, wooden cartons. He pries one open with a crowbar, and it's filled with meat. And is that dry ice? Like, are they ice packs? Like, what's keeping this meat fresh?
Well, it's sealed, vacuum sealed, so it probably doesn't need a whole lot of cooling. But yeah, I mean, it looks like ice, but the problem is that if it was regular ice, it would have been melted by now.
Melted, yeah, that's what
And
I
if it was
thought,
dry
too.
ice, you'd be seeing all the vapor coming off of it, and they
Yeah.
wouldn't be reaching out and just grabbing it and picking it up and playing with
This
it
is
because
also why I wondered if they were in some sort of freezer, because if they were in like a chest freezer or something like that, like a big walk-in freezer,
big walk-in cooler, yeah.
that would make more sense, but they're not. So, I don't know if I want to eat that pastrami. Just saying.
Hey, after he sells it off, it's not his problem, you know.
That's true. Steele lifts the meat out and he wonders if it's brisket. And Laura tells him it's pastrami, which surprises Steele. McBride tells him it's worth a fortune in Honolulu. He tells him it's impossible to get a decent pastrami sandwich in Hawaii. It takes like cardboard and you pay through the nose. He tells him that
Probably because they use spam.
yeah. He tells him, I can't stand that stuff. Oh, so
I mean, that is one of the main
know,
ingredients
yeah.
of a very popular food genre in Hawaii. Yeah,
ugh.
and in fact, in the convenience stores here in town, they've got these little display cases, and you can get the whatever, I don't know what it's called, but it's like rice and spam, and you can get it with
No,
egg.
thanks.
It's
No,
like
thanks. No, I'm good. But he tells him that he and his buddy got an idea. He flies New York to LA and his friend flies LA to Honolulu. So they figured, why not ship the real thing from New York? The freshest pastrami direct from New York to Waikiki. Laura, somewhat disbelieving, says, you've been using Platinum Air to smuggle black market pastrami? McBride is pretty proud of this. He says, cuts through a lot of red tape. Now here's my question. Is it smuggling when it's not crossing any borders? Like, what is he doing that's illegal with this? Because I don't really know.
That was what I was wondering. And he makes a reference, macadamia nuts, Oahu to New York, tax-free, of course. And I'm thinking, what taxes? Because I don't think Hawaii has export taxes on macadamia nuts. I don't think New York has export tax on pastrami. I'm not seeing, granted, they're using the airline without authorization to move this stuff back and forth. So that would be a problem with the employer.
Yeah.
I don't see it as a legal problem.
No, because if he's bought this meat wholesale, right? And he's just moving it to sell it elsewhere, which is
unless there's some inspections that they're bypassing when they're bringing it into Hawaii. That's the only,
but again,
or the macadamia nuts coming out.
That's
the only thing I can think of.
The flight's domestic though, so I can't think of what inspections.
Well, some states will have food inspections if you bring in so much food.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's the only thing that I can think of that would be applicable in this situation, because you're right. It's domestic to domestic. It's not like you're going international.
Yeah. So he says the savings on freight is unbelievable, and they bypass most of that, or they pass most of that on to their distributors. Steele wonders
they're not paying anything for the freight.
Exactly. Steele wonders how profitable this fly-by-night operation is, and McBride tells him the pastrami is about $30,000 profit margin, but the margin is about twice that on Max. Steele isn't sure what he means, and he clarifies macadamia nuts, Oahu to New York, tax-free, of course. Steele kind of like
the only tax-free I can think of is no income taxes on it.
Yeah, I guess that could be it. But Steele, game recognizes game here, because like there's a bit of respect that you can see on Steele's face, because he laughs, even
wiggles his finger at him.
Yeah, he says, "It was you that gave me a free ride on the baggage express the other day, wasn't it?" McBride apologizes, saying he was just protecting his investment, and he laughs and he says, and then McBride says, "You can imagine when we saw the headline." When I saw the headline, and Laura looks terrified. What headline? Back at the office, Steele and Laura are staring at the newspaper in horror. Mr. Ketchum's right behind them. He snatches the paper out of their hands and he says, "You told me you'd be discreet." He holds up the newspaper saying, Is this your idea of discreet? Steele starts to try to be brutally honest, but Laura interrupts and plays to Ketchum's ego, saying it's all part of Mr. Steele's plan to flush out the killer. Steele looks kind of surprised, and it is. Please elaborate, Laura. She
back to
flounders
season
a bit.
1.
Yeah, right. Saying that for security reasons, they couldn't even let him know how close they've come to breaking this wide open. Steele agrees and begins to walk him towards the door, saying, now that the trap has been set, it's only a matter of hours before the guilty party reveals himself. He tells Ketchum to sit tight, not to breathe a word to anyone. And of course, Ketchum, being thoroughly bamboozled, you can count on me.
I think the word is sucker.
Yeah, he turns to leave and then grins and says, by God, Steele, you're as good as they say they are. As they say you are. Yeah. Good Lord. Once Ketchum is gone, Laura looks to Steele and says, speaking of guilty parties, poor Mildred. We see her in the main area of the office in the hot seat.
And Marvin is in there. What is he doing in there?
Right.
He has
Why
no
is he
business
there?
being in there.
No, this is it bothers me that he's there.
Well, you wouldn't do that because of that's, I'm not going to say it's illegal because I don't know the legality of it, but it's definitely inappropriate because you do not hold an employee disciplinary action with another employee there. No,
you really don't. And
that's I don't know if it's technically not libel, but slander, but I mean it's bordering on slander. It's inappropriate at the very least. It's and poor Mildred, she looks really upset. You know, she says he said he was from Time magazine. He even talked in short sentences. Yeah, really. I didn't know he was just a local reporter. And okay, Mildred, even if he wasn't, like, you told them stuff you shouldn't be telling them. Yeah. Whether he was Time magazine or the LA Times, it doesn't matter. She did divulge information that she shouldn't have been divulging. So that part, I think, is kind of irrelevant, what his credentials were. Yeah. But Steele does point out that she might have asked for his credentials, which is a good point, because he could have been somebody who worked for the airline or the killer or whatever. She starts to try to protest and say, if you'd been there, you would have been convinced as well. But Laura interrupts, saying, Secretary tells all, Mildred, how could you? And this is where Mildred starts getting defensive and says that Marvin was making her crazy. Steele very dismissively says, we're not talking about Marvin. And I am fully in agreement that they have a right to discipline Mildred or to speak to Mildred about what happened, because she screwed up big time. Right. But to completely ignore what she's saying about Marvin or dismiss Marvin out of hand as being... and not even listen to her what she has to say. This is one of those situations where somebody is provoked by somebody else's actions or behavior, and so somebody responds, and the provocative action is totally ignored. It's just picked up at the point that you responded, and you shouldn't have done that. Well, I wouldn't have done this except for that person over there did this to me, and I was just trying to defend myself. Doesn't matter. You're not allowed to do that because it's naughty. Yeah, like Mildred's clearly contrite. She's clearly upset. She knows she screwed up. Yeah, and she's trying to communicate to them what has been happening to her, and they're not interested in hearing it. They're just. So Mildred, she stands up and she says, "What is this, an inquisition? So I made a mistake. Big deal." Which. Okay, that's probably not the best way to respond, because it is a big deal. It is, yes. Because Laura points out that she totally blew their cover.
But Mildred replies saying, "You've totally blown my authority in this office." And both are right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those situations where Laura's right. Mildred screwed up. She blew their cover. She could have possibly blown the case. And that has to be addressed. But at the same time, they need to listen to what Mildred is saying because they have blown her authority. They have blown her. They haven't shown her any respect. Marvin was supposed to be gone. He's not gone.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's been listening to her. She's been trying to communicate this. And Steele, again, dismisses this, saying this isn't the time. And
she's like the employee that is trying to point out a problem to management. And all management sees is you're a troublemaker because you're pointing this out. Well, no, I'm not a troublemaker. I'm trying to make you aware of a problem that needs to be solved. No, you're just trying to create trouble.
Yeah.
That's basically how they're treating her.
This is the last straw for her, especially when Steele dismisses it, saying this isn't the time. She says, "Oh, I bust my chops for you. And what thanks do I get? You bring in Twinkle Toes over here." She says she can see the handwriting on the wall. She's got some of her own. I quit. And she storms out the office. And this is, I think, Laura realizes, whoops, because this is one of those situations, too, where, and I'm sure you've had this experience either with yourself or with your wife, where you've got an argument that seems to come out of nowhere, right? Like you're talking about one thing and all of a sudden it turns into something huge and you're not really sure why, because it really wasn't that huge to begin with, but there's something underlying either in you or her or somebody that causes that other issue, that seemingly insignificant issue, to become a big issue. And in this case, Mildred has been simmering over this the whole time. And yeah, she screwed up, but she's also been trying to communicate, like, this is my job that you guys have completely disrespected and disrespected me in turn. And so I don't think Mildred's trivializing what she's done, but she's also, this whole thing has been going, like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back for her. She's like, no, I'm not going to stand here and listen to you tell me Marvin doesn't matter, because he does.
Yeah. She's willing to take responsibility and accept the punishment for her screw up, but she needs some sort of acknowledgement that Marvin's going to be dealt with too, because he's the instigator.
Yeah, and that he shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And when she tries to say, like, I did screw up, but here's what led me to this, like how I made this, they don't want to hear it. They're not interested. So, but Laura at least clues in when she leaves, like, oh crap, we made a mistake. Something was there. Laura realizes, I think intuitively, that there was more to this. This wasn't just Mildred.
Intuitively, Mildred's been telling them that. There's no intuitive here at all. I mean, no, you need to start listening.
Yeah, I think she does once Mildred says, I quit. I think that's where Laura realizes that there was more to this. It's not just the problem on the surface. There's the problem underneath that Mildred was trying to talk about. So she looks at Steele. She's like, do something. And she'll be back. She does come back. And Steele initially thinks he's right, but she takes her nameplate and leaves. So that's. And then at Mildred's, we see she's sitting at her counter in the kitchen. I thought initially she was doing a crossword, but then when the camera zooms in on her when she sits down at the table, it looks like she's marking the classifieds.
Yeah, I think
so.
That's...
She's
because you can see the crossword.
Yeah, that's
on the side of the paper that's facing us.
Yeah, so I was a bit confused initially because she had a pencil in her hand, so I was like, "What is she doing?" But then when she sits down, you can see she's looking at classifieds. So she's looking for a job. Yeah. So this was not a stunt she was pulling. Like, obviously in this scene here, she manages to twist it around and use it to her advantage when she sees she can.
But I mean, she legitimately walked out.
She legitimately walked out. She was ready. She was done. There was too much that had been building up until this point, and that was just the last straw. So Steele knocks on the door. She looks back. She sees him there. Goes back to the paper. He knocks again, telling her it's him. She knows that, Steele. Yeah. She knows.
Hello, Captain Obvious speaking.
Yeah.
We will be flying today on
Mildred's ticked off airlines. Yeah. He asks her to open up, and she says, nobody's home. He continues to read. Steele gets out his lockpick kit and lets himself in, and Mildred tells him that's cheating. But he says all's fair. She asks him what he wants. She goes over to sit down at the table, and he joins her, telling her that he thinks she knows what he wants and what Miss Holt wants. He brings over her tea. She says, "I'd like to hear it." And I really love this scene with Mildred, because she's not only standing up for herself, but demanding that he voice, like, what do you think I want? Mm-hmm. She's making him do the work. She's not just saying, like, this is what, I mean, she does spell it out for him, but she's also making him come to terms with what the disrespect is and how it happened.
Part of it is that she wants to know that he's not just going to, if she said this, and this is the problem. Yeah. Then even if he hadn't thought of it before, he's going to say, oh, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. That's not recognizing the problem. That's being told, and you're going along with it. She wants to know that he's looked at the situation and says, oh, yeah. Yeah. I see what I did. Ooh, shouldn't have done that. Yeah, she wants him to acknowledge, to think about it and realize why she's hurt. Yeah. And that's fair. So she tells him that she wants to hear it, so he says they want her back. She hears him, she smiles, but she says, I don't think so. He kneels down and tells her that he's really sorry. He asks if she would at least do him the courtesy of looking at him while he grovels. And Mildred kindly tells him, I don't want you to grovel. Like, that's not why. She's not wanting him to beg or plead. That's not what she's interested in. He asks, what do you want? She says, how about a little respect for one? And he says that you've always had that, but she doesn't see it that way. And I think this is fair. She says, then how come when you look at me, you only see someone to fetch your coffee or make your appointments? And you can see on his face that the light bulb sort of comes on. He has the decency to look a little bit embarrassed, to look a bit chagrined, because he knows that he's been taking advantage of her in that respect. Because technically, as a secretary, her job would not be to cater to his whims.
Yeah, she's not a maid.
She's not his gopher.
She's not a gopher. She's there to man the phones, to make sure the appointments are made, to do the research that they ask her to do, and to get the information that she's asked to get. But she's not there to be his personal servant, and that's what he's been using her as. Yeah. And that's not showing respect. So she asks, so he looks away, he's embarrassed, and Mildred continues saying that, I know why you brought Marvin in, because lately I've been spending more time with the agency business, and you miss your personal attention. Yep. Right? And he kind of looks at her and he grins. And he says, you were so winning as the adoring subordinate. And Mildred says, well, you can't turn back the clock. I learned your secret in London, and it changed my outlook. So he looks a little sad about that. And he's asked if the secret is really that meaningful. And he says, we're a team, the three of us. You, me, Miss Holt. Let's not break that up. She shakes her head and she reminds him that before she signed on to be his major domo, she was a member of the IRS fraud squad. And this is important, I think, because we tend to forget that whatever the job she had with the IRS means that, I mean, we know her skills. We know she's good with numbers. We know she's good at finding fraud. She's good with technology, computers. But she also, I'm assuming, would have had to have some education behind her to get a job like that in the IRS. It's a government job. I'm going to go ahead and assume that she's probably got some kind of college, maybe if not necessarily university, but there's some sort of post-secondary degree attached to that.
Yeah, or she's got enough in-depth work experience that it's I can't think of the phrase, but it's basically that her life and work experience is equivalent to an actual education.
Yeah. Like this is she is a qualified woman. Like we always talk about Laura being this working woman that is a role model because she's out there and she's making things happen. But Mildred has been doing that too. and Mildred has not had a family. She doesn't have kids. She has been a working woman her entire life. She's on her own and she is skilled. She is not just somebody she's not Debbie Rebello with her fluffy sweater. She knows what she's doing.
Well, and she's a good secretary, and a good secretary is more than answer the phone, fetch the coffee, and type up a few letters.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when she points out she was a member of the IRS fraud squad, she adds that it's very discouraging to find out she has more qualifications for his job than he does.
Yes.
Which is a swing. Good for you, Mildred.
Because essentially as a fraud investigator, she was a detective.
Yeah. Literally, that would have been her job, is to sniff out and that must and I never even thought of it that way until I saw this episode about how that must have stung to be treated, to have adored him, to have looked up to him as being this he's this great detective. He went and he studied and he got this, and now he's this, he's this maverick who does all this stuff and solves all these cases. I'm just Mildred. I just worked for the fraud squad. I'm not as good as he is. And then to realize, no, actually,
I'm more qualified than he is. Yeah.
Far more qualified than he is to do his job, and to then be still treated like that subordinate. That would have been, yeah.
And haven't you had managers like that too?
Oh yes.
You look at him and say, "How did you get this job?
Get here? This is absolutely." He tries to defend himself, saying, "Well, I may not have the formal training," but she cuts him off, saying that she figures if he can play detective, she can play more than just pencil pusher. That's that. And she's right.
Although she really shouldn't have characterized her position as just being a pencil pusher, because it's, again, secretary has that perception, but a good secretary, which Mildred is far more than just a pencil pusher.
I don't think she saw herself as a pencil pusher, but I think when she used that phrasing, she was referring to how she feels that Steele saw her. If you can play detective, I can play more than just your personal slave, your pencil pusher, what have you.
Yeah.
He's disappointed. So that's it. There's nothing I can say to get you back. And this is where she's
now that I've manipulated you to the point where I want you.
Well, it wasn't even manipulation. She was just being honest, but it's this point where she's like, okay, I could actually get what I want here. I can actually use this to my advantage, because deep down, I don't think she wants to leave. It's just come to a point where she feels like
something's got to change.
Yeah. So this is the point where she's like, you know what? I'm going to ask for what I want. And if I get it, I get it. If not, I've just got the classifieds in front of me.
That's right.
Right. So I didn't say that. I wouldn't go quite that far. And still grins, thinking he's won, sits down and says, there would have to be some changes. Now, in the script, there is a line that got cut out here. I'll see if I can find it here, because she's got him right where she wants him, and then he says, "Okay, it's a good thing you pushed me over the edge, because I might not have had the guts to spread my wings without the shove." And that's when he says, "I see. So that's it then. There's nothing I can say to bring you back." And Mildred realizes she has a golden opportunity here for a little self-advancement. That's what the script says. Yeah. I wouldn't go quite that far, but there'd have to be some changes, minor changes. And then Steele, that's where he says, "Flexibility is our motto." Seems like Remington Steele Agency has a lot of mottos. And she says, "Well, let's see." Sudden thought, "Nah, you'd have to run it by Miss Holt anyway." And Steele has a line here. "Hang on. Hang Miss Holt. I may have started out as a figment of her imagination, but I'm now undeniably real and autonomous to some degree." Kind of wish they'd left that line in. Yeah. I'm real and autonomous, sort of. Mildred says, "I don't know. She may not like it if..." And this is literally, now she's manipulating him, because she knows that he has to run it by Laura, but she's wanting him to say, no, the buck stops here, which he does. The buck stops here. Fire away. So Mildred tells him, "Well, eventually I'd like to get my private investigator's license." He says, "Splendid." And then she says it means that she'd have to be much more involved in their cases. He looks a little confused. "You would?" She says, "Yeah, you have to apprentice for 3 years before you can even apply for a license." And again, this is kind of like, he seems a little shocked by that, but it's like, you didn't do that, dude, so you wouldn't know.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So then she says, and if she's going to be more valuable, it should be reflected in her salary. He agrees, offers her another $50 a week. 50? To which he amends it to 100. And she heartily agrees. She shakes his hand vigorously, asking if he'll tell Miss Holt. And he says, "Oh, as soon as I see her." Well, just then, Laura taps on Mildred's door. Speak of the devil. Mildred jumps up. She lets her in. Laura's surprised to see her looking so happy. She comments that it looks like the cat that just swallowed the canary, and she asks if it means she's coming back. Mildred says, of course, and looks at Steele meaningfully. Yeah. But he does not want to do this here. He's like,
no.
So he jumps up looking nervous, but before he has a chance to say anything else, Laura tells him that it was just on the news that a body washed up on a beach in San Pedro, 2 bullets to the back of the neck. He's never been so happy to hear about a dead body. He's like, wonderful. Belton's trademark suggests they get down there right away. Mildred attempts to stop him so that he can tell Laura, but Steele says, later. It seems the ghost of their contract killer has just claimed another victim. He tells Laura he's coming and that there's not a moment to lose. And this is cute. I looked. I didn't think this was in the script, so I checked. He says, speak of the devil. Chief, she gestures again. Later, Mildred seems like the ghost escorting Laura quickly out. Come, Miss Holt, not a moment to lose. So this is not in the script, but she grabs onto his coat as he leaves. Yeah. His suit jacket. Yeah. Like she's trying to pull him back. And it's funny. So
and she's not happy. She's got he did it to me again look on her face.
So, but she doesn't let him, she holds him to account for the rest of this episode, which is funny. At the morgue, we see, this is funny too, we see the mortician lower the sheet over the body. Steele has been looking under and he looks green. He's about to puke.
Yeah.
He comments on the interesting color. The mortician says that he spent the last 2 nights in a kelp bed, so he would still be down there if that fishing trawler hadn't tracked him up. How that must have been like, if you're the guy in the fishing trawler to pull that out of the water. Gross. Laura asks if there's an ID. The mortician says he can't get any prints, says his fingers were nibbled away. Steele is horrified. By what? The mortician grins and says there's lots of things down there that nibble. Yeah. Like they're clearly leaning into this stereotype here about the like extremely morbid mortician.
Yeah.
And then he says you should see the guy they brought in a week before. His fingers weren't the only thing that was missing.
His last name wasn't Bobbin by any chance, was it?
I thought that too. That was the first thing that popped into my head. And for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, it was the 90s, right? It was the 90s.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
There was a very infamous case of a woman who it later. I did some deep diving because there was actually a documentary on this, and I think that it was a case of domestic abuse, and that's why she chopped it off. At least I think
she also alleged that he was cheating on her.
Yeah, but yeah, she chopped off his
thing
and tossed it out the car window. So yeah, that's what I thought of too. Immediately thought of. Steele asked him to skip that part.
It's worn out, so he needs to get a new one anyway. So
Exactly, yeah. And Laura then asks if she can look under the sheet, which this is funny. She lifts it and she sticks her head right in. Asking how long he was down there, the mortician says based on the state of decomposition about 4 days. She lowers the sheet and says, well, that's it for me, and asks Mr. Steele if he has any questions, but he's gone. So yeah. And she doesn't look like that fazed her at all.
No, she's used to it.
And since you made a Home Improvement reference, I get to make a Buffy reference. That's the rule. So there's a scene. There's a scene in Buffy where they're doing something similar. They're checking out a body to see if it was killed by a werewolf or a vampire. And Willow goes in and she's got her little science kit and she's like, and Xander and Cordelia are with her and both of them are like about to heave. They're thoroughly like not okay with this. And Willow is just intent. Like she's not even looking at them and she's like scraping finger scrapings and whatnot. And she seems, totally like not fazed by the body. And then when she's done, she stands up to leave and then she passes out. That kind of made me think of this, except Laura doesn't pass out. She's just like, nope, any questions? Steele's gone. Yeah. So back in the office, Laura's mulling over the case. She suggests that someone hired a contract killer to get rid of whoever was in the morgue, then hired someone to get rid of the contract killer. Confusing? Steele says yes, but wonders which crew member hired the killer in the first place and why. And this is where Mildred comes in with a refill, coffee refill. She fills Laura's cup, leans over to Phil Steele's and mouths, "Right now," to which he mouths that he's getting to it.
Yeah.
She asks them to let her know if they need anything else, and she leaves. Laura comments that Mildred seems awfully spry today, and Steele says, "No doubt, just happy to be back among them." Comes around to the desk and suggests that Belden might have been blackmailing whoever hired him. Then they would have to get rid of Belden as well. Laura nods, saying, "Not bad," and then Mildred returns, saying that she hates to disturb them, but Sally Devon is on line 1 for Miss Holt. Laura asks, "Is there something wrong with the intercom?" And Mildred says, "No, she just thought they'd appreciate the personal touch." She looks at Steele and pointedly says, "Anything else, boss?" To which Steele testily replies, "Not yet, Mildred." She says, "She's here if you need me." Leaves before giving Steele a death glare. At this point, Laura's clued in. She looks at Steele and she says, "What exactly did you tell Mildred?"
Yeah.
He says nothing, hands her the phone. She answers it, tells Sally to start at the beginning, and after a minute or so, she says, "Stay right there. They're on their way." So Laura turns to Steele and says that was Sally, and she needs him to come down there. Wanda's hysterical. She says something about life or death and emergency. Steele's confused, wondering what Wanda has to do with the puzzle. They go out into the main office. Laura tells Mildred they'll be at Wanda Sutton's apartment. Steele tells Mildred later before she can say anything, and they leave. Once they're gone, we see a dejected-looking Marvin leave Laura's office with a box full of his things. Womp womp. Not sad.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, bye-bye. He makes his way up to the desk and tells Mildred he guesses this is goodbye. Mildred just, "I guess so." She didn't even look up. Marvin then tells her that he didn't realize how important she was to this organization until Mr. Steele spelled it out for him. This is nice. I will say this for Mildred, not necessarily for Marvin, because I don't really care what happens to him, but like...
My feeling is that Marvin was given a tool that he could use to wedge his way back in. That, yeah, Steele may have told him some things, but Marvin really doesn't care. He's really not all that impressed by what Steele said and about what it meant and about how Mildred is so important and vital to the agency. But, now that I know this, I can use this to get into her good graces, because obviously she's the one really pulling the strings here. So if I suck up to her, I get in good with her, I get to stay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I do think it was nice for Mildred to hear from a third party.
Well, yeah.
That Steele chewed him out on how important she was. Like, I think Marvin's using this. I agree, but I don't think he's lying. I think Steele did.
Yeah.
Say, like, she's valuable. We need her, whatever,
And even though I don't think he's actually learned anything at this point, maybe it's the germ of an idea that will come back to him at some point, and he'll be able to recognize that, hey, you know what? Just because I think my job is somehow more impressive or important than somebody else's job doesn't mean that they should be treated like a carpet.
Yeah. That always bothers me about any job, because the CEO wouldn't have a company without the people that work there. And that goes for every single employee, even the custodians and whoever else. Like, just because their paycheck's smaller doesn't mean what they do isn't important, because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be doing it.
It doesn't hurt to be nice to all your employees simply because they're people.
Yeah, they're doing a job that
not?
obviously needs to be done, or it wouldn't be a job, and they're being paid and compensated and should be respected for that. So at least Mildred is hearing from a third party, because Marvin says right after she left, Steele explained how irreplaceable she was and that there wasn't really a need for an intern in the office. Mildred feels better hearing that. She's happy, asking, "The boss said that?" Marvin says yes, and she asks if it's too late to get a new internship. And I get why Mildred's got a soft heart here, because she probably sees a little bit of her nephew in Marvin.
Could be.
Not that he's
Bernard.
the same, but she sees a college kid who just lost an internship. She probably feels a little bad for him. He says yes, it's too late, but don't worry, I'll bounce back. I'm young. Maybe he says, maybe I'm not cut out for this business. And Mildred says, I'm not so sure about that. All you need is a little seasoning from a real pro. She smiles at him, extends the olive branch, and tells him to pull up a chair. He looks happy and sits down. Blech. I don't love Marvin, but at least he's learned, like, if the secretary is disrespected, you're not going to get far.
Yeah.
So There's that.
Yeah, it's the old "if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy" philosophy.
Happy wife, happy life. Yeah. Okay, so when they get to this apartment or condo or whatever it is, they're knocking on the door, trying to look through the door, but there's a giant picture window that we see when they come in that gives you the entire view of the inside of the condo.
Yeah.
Just found it kind of funny that nobody thought to look there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Steele is calling for Wanda. There's no answer. He turns, he sees Lorraine, and she says she's in the neighborhood. She lives 2 doors down. Then Sally approaches with Biff, and they ask if there's any luck. Laura says either she's not home, she can't answer the door. Steele, eager to kick down another door, he tells him to stand back. He's going to break it down, but Biff says to wait. He's got a key. He tosses it over, earning him a death glare from Sally. Ugh. Like, I'm sorry. If I were Sally at this point, I would be going and getting tested for STDs because, like, he has clearly.
At minimum, just I was going to say cut him off after the Lorena Bobbitt joke. That might be a little bit poor taste.
I don't know. I mean, he could stand to be without a couple of appendages. He tries to defend himself. It was a long time ago. Sure.
Well, then why do you still need the key?
Right? Why do you still have the key? That's gross. They open the apartment and go inside, and that's when you see them come in. There's that huge window. They could have peeked in.
Yeah, there's actually 2 windows because there's one beside the door, too.
Yeah. But
and
they
one
don't
around
see
the
her.
corner.
She's not in there. So they move further in. Steele calls out her name. Inside the bedroom, we see that it's been trashed, and Laura calls her name again, but there's no answer. They see a shoe under the bed, and assuming it's attached to a body, Lorraine shrieks and sort of like buries her head in Steele's jacket. Laura bends down, pulls out the shoe, only to find a shoe. There's nothing attached to it. It's a shoe. Sorry. Gesundheit. She looks under the bed. No Wanda. Biff asks the question again. Where's Wanda? Is she with Waldo? Sorry. Couldn't Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It was too easy. Kind of like Biff. Anyway. Anyway, before they can do anything else, Mildred comes in with Marvin in tow. They start to tell her that that they don't have time, but Mildred interrupts them, telling them they got the lowdown on that stiff. Marvin says, well, Mildred did most of the work. And she says, oh, don't sell yourself short. You did all the groundwork. And Laura like, okay, can someone tell us what's going on?
Enough with the Mutual Admiration Society.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it was before it was fighting, and now it's, yeah. Mildred tells him the guy was an SEC investigator on the trail of a major investment scam. Marvin adds that the company that he was investigating was the Holder Investment Group run by Barry Holder. Laura says that he was the passenger having the affair with Wanda. Laura says that she knew there was something strange and that she bets that Wanda discovered what Barry was up to. Steele says if that's true, they need to find her before he does, and they all leave. We're back at Platinum Air. Ketchum is incensed that Steele and Laura have asked him to ground all the flights, but Laura basically says if you want to catch a killer, and for the first time he acknowledges her and goes to do what she's told him to do. So Steele tells her that he hopes she's right about this, and she says if I were a stewardess and I wanted to get out of town fast, I would dead head out on the next available flight.
Well, that's a good theory. There is a slight problem with that because even though I don't work for the airlines, I have encountered a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
And they're not limited usually to just deadheading on their airline.
Oh.
The airlines have, I guess, like this...
like partnership agreements?
I don't know if it's even really that formal. It's just that they've got the kind of this standing, maybe unspoken, unwritten agreement that if they've got a jump seat open and somebody needs air crew from some airline needs a flight, if they don't have one of their own people who need that, they can get that. I've taken people from UPS, FedEx, and other cargo. Right. Other cargo services that we have up here and taking them to Alaska Air, United, American, whatever, because they're deadheading on those flights to go back home at the end of their tour. So yeah, it sounds good in theory. And certainly within the airline would be the first place that they would maybe, or the most likely place where they would get a deadhead seat. But yeah, it could have been possibly on any other airline as well. So
Steele tells her, let's hope we don't give new meaning to the word. And we then see Barry and Wanda. They're on the tarmac, and it's obvious that Wanda's trying to get away. But Barry has a pretty good grip on her. They see two guards, and Barry grabs Wanda, and they head in the other direction. Meanwhile, Steele is looking. They're on the plane, on one of the planes. They don't see her, so Steele suggests the cockpit. Inside, McBride, oh, not you again. And Steele says, Wanda Sutton. And McBride replies with, I swear I never touched her.
Poor guy.
Guilty conscience?
Yeah, maybe.
But Laura spots her and Barry in front of the plane on the tarmac. They're making a run for it. Steele tells McBride he's going to need a lift. And what? This is the silliest scene because, like, at some point the plane would run out of space to chase the people. The people can go inside a building. The plane can't go inside a building. Like,
but see, in TV land, the people never think of that.
I get that it looks cool for the plane to chase the people, but like, the smarter thing would be to contact Ketchum at ground control and
get security.
They're on get security out there onto the tarmac. There they are. Catch them. Instead, they chased them in the plane.
and in this sequence of events, we learn that Platinum Airlines is really a front for the CIA.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Explain me?
The 727 that they show says Platinum Air on the fuselage, but if you look at the tail markings, it's Evergreen Airways. Evergreen International Airlines was a charter and cargo airline based in McNeil, Oregon, wholly owned by Evergreen International Aviation, with long-standing ties to the Central Intelligence Agency. They began in the 1960s as a helicopter operation, and then merged. It acquired a certificate of Johnson Flying Service and merged it with Intermountain Airlines, which was a known CIA front, from Pacific Corporation, which was also a CIA front, in order to form the Evergreen International Airlines.
Wow.
And they also purchased the assets of Air America, which was a real airline, which provided the fixed wing and helicopter support for the CIA in Southeast Asia during Vietnam. And
did they know this when they wrote the episode? Like, was this information widely known, or was this something that came to light after?
Well, I was in the Guard in the 80s, and I think I was aware of it then.
Okay, because I was wondering if the writing staff knew it, or if it was just a happy accident that they ended up using one of.
Well, Evergreen served as an agency front for pretty much all of its history. Pretty much anywhere in the world where there was a hotspot, Evergreen was never far behind. And in fact, several of its senior executives either worked for the agency or had close ties to it. And in 1988, when the Oregon newspaper asked the owner about their ties to the CIA, his response was, well, we don't know when we've ever worked for the CIA, but if we did, we're proud of it. And
okay, well, all right.
Eventually they declared bankruptcy. But yes, two Evergreen aircraft appeared in 2 TV shows. I didn't make note of this. Remington Steele was one, and then there was another TV show that it appeared in as well. They had 2 aircraft specifically that, for whatever reason, they leased those 2 specific aircraft for TV shows. So yeah.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Oh, and at the time of the owner's death in 2014, the remains of his once billion-dollar aviation empire had been sold off, shut down, or was in bankruptcy and under investigation by tax authorities, which I guess is the kind of thank you get for working with the government or for the government. You get investigated by the IRS.
Yeah. And then you get shut down. Wow. Okay. So we've got, Steele tells McBride he's going to need a lift, and we cut to Ketchum telling air traffic control he'll take responsibility and give the pilot all the damn clearance he wants, which I don't think you can do that because there's other planes taking off. Right?
Well,
I think you'd have to.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't typically, but
I guess if they grounded all the other flights, then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and if Ketchum has as much pull and influence as he implies, he
True.
could probably say, I'll don't worry about it. I'll clear it with so and so at the FAA or whatever.
So the plane begins to follow Wanda and Barry, who, again, Wanda's still struggling as Barry kind of like lurches, running, dragging her down the tarmac. Steele tells McBride to hold it steady. Laura asks where he's going. He says he's going out for a breath of fresh air. And I would like to point out that Mr. Steele walked so Tom Cruise could hang off the edge of a plane. Because I don't know if you've seen the Mission Impossible.
No, I was going to say I don't understand the reference.
Okay, so like Steele gets out on the edge of this plane, but the Mission Impossible series started out in the 90s as, an adaptation of the TV show of the same name and turned into basically a vanity project for Tom Cruise to try to kill himself, because every single film he does the stunts, he does his own stunts. And basically gives the insurance companies heart attacks, as well as the director, because he keeps upping the ante of the stunts that he does. The second film that he did, he literally free climbed on a cliff that was just so high in the air that if you fell, you would be dead. And apparently, John Woo, who is the director, who's known for his action sequences in Hong Kong and whatnot, was just like, he's going to die. Like, he was terrified to let him do it. And then it just kind of escalated from there. Like there's one particular film where he's climbing the building of the Burj Khalifa in Abu Dhabi, or Dubai. Sorry, it's in Dubai, which I think might be in, I'm not good with geography. But anyway, he's on this building, which is the tallest building in the world now. It beat out the CN Tower a few years ago. And he's out there doing it. And then the sixth film, he decided that he wanted to hang off the wing of a moving plane. Or sorry, I think it might have been the seventh film, actually. But yeah, this stunt was, he performed the stunt himself. It involved intense training, including learning how to breathe in the brutal wind, coordinating with a pilot and camera crew. And basically, it was insane. Like, he and the director developed the aerial sequence by first developing the choreography. He endured intense, physically demanding training, had to withstand huge G-forces, techniques for breathing in the wind, and then had to be aware of the plane's position, the airflow, mindful of the drag his body created. He was on the edge of that plane and could have died. And
I get vertigo just watching things on TV, so I couldn't. No.
And it's funny because the only major, one of the films he got injured, but it was not doing any of the crazy stunts. He literally jumped across from one roof of a building to another and landed the wrong way and broke his ankle. And that scene is in the finished final part of the film. You see him jump up and he's kind of limping away as he goes. But so yeah, Steele walked so Mr. Cruise could hang off the edge of a plane here because he gets out on the wing. And we see he's standing on the wing as the plane gets closer, and he jumps off the wing and onto Barry, giving new meaning to the phrase "on a wing and a prayer." See what I did there? See what I did? Come on. Yeah, I've been waiting for that, but I'm bummed. So he stands him up, says "Happy landings," and punches him out. But Wanda's already gotten away by this point. She manages to break free of him before he does that. So we get a scene change. Ketchum at the top of the tower says, "Let me get this straight. This guy Barry was really using my airline as a meat wagon?" And Laura says that's right, and that he masterminded an entire investment scheme with their well-heeled clients, the perfect pigeons. Steele adds that when he heard an SCC agent was on his tail, he hired a contract killer to dispose of the problem, 2 blows to the back of the neck. Laura adds that he had innocent Wanda smuggle the body onto the plane, adding that Wanda had no idea what was in that duffel. How?
Yeah, I mean, it's larger than a bread box.
The sheer weight alone. What did he tell her was in there?
Yeah, it just that is a case of ignoring the obvious.
Yeah, we got
that something is wrong.
This is hey baby, I really need you to take this on the plane for me. What is it? It's a duffel bag. Okay, what's in it? Nothing you need to be concerned about. But it's really heavy and it may feel like there's a body inside, but just don't worry about it.
Yeah, just go with it. Don't ask any questions. Don't ask any
Was
questions.
she lugging it up the stairs of the airplane? Like, how did that get in there? I have to know how that happened. Anyway, if anyone wants to write that fan fiction, please, please do so. Steele adds that when the body arrived in L.A., Barry claimed it and dumped it in the ocean. Ketchum asks why he did that, and Laura says to create the perfect alibi. Steele adds that Barry was in New York. The body washes up on shore here. Laura says that when the contract killer got greedy, Barry killed him and attempted to pull off the same scheme. Steele says it would have worked too if it were not for their faulty baggage system. But I don't see how the baggage system is faulty.
Unless it, like I said, it snagged the bag in transit and ripped it open. That's
the only thing. Because like Ketchum laughs and says, "Thank goodness for small glitches." And he tells Steele that he had his doubts, but he did a first-rate job. And then he turns to Laura, and you think she's about to get some recognition here, because he says, "You too, little lady. Maybe I underestimated you." She thanks him, calls him ace. He passes by, but then he pinches her butt.
Well,
so
it's
close.
recognition of another kind.
So close to being a good human. So close. So then she calls him chauvinistic and overbearing, and Mildred comes around the corner and asks if they're ready for home. Steele says absolutely, and Marvin asks if he can bring the car around, calling Mildred Miss Krebs. She tells him to go ahead and they'll meet him at the curb. She smiles and says he's a good kid. She's going to tutor him on the side. She then says, "By the way, we need to talk about vacation time, but maybe we should wait until you've had your talk with Miss Holt." This is good. She's basically forced the issue. Like, she waited. She let him have his time, but when he didn't do what he said he was going to do, she's like, "No, well, we're just going to, we're going to."
"Hi, I'm Mildred Krebs. I drive for the local bus company. Please stand in front of me while I drive."
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. We'll wait until you've had your talk with Miss Holt. She walks away, and Laura looks at him furious, asking, "What talk?" "Laura, you remember how fervently you wanted Mildred back?" "Mr. Steele." "And the agency wouldn't be the same without her." "Mr. Steele." Let me put it another way, Laura. At least we get to keep our offices.
Yeah, really.
That's word phrases, which I like.
Be thankful for small favors.
I mean,
to keep the office.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think she asked, like...
She wasn't out of line, really.
No, I mean, the raise, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that would have been a lot. I'm assuming $100 a week.
I think $100 a week in the 80s was pretty substantial.
Yeah, okay. So maybe the raise part, but like the actual part where she says, "I want to," like that's interior advancement. She wants to advance. Yeah. There's nothing like that's logical.
And it makes her a more valuable asset to the agency. Yeah,
absolutely. If they have somebody else who is able to take clients and cases eventually, then that allows them to do more, to make more money, to,
Yeah.
So maybe the raise part, but the rest of it was pretty reasonable in terms of like what she wants. But
I don't think the raise was out of line either. But
no, not for what she's had to do.
Especially if she hasn't gotten a raise in the entire time she's been there.
No, plus, I mean, there's got to be some like danger bonus or something. She's been kidnapped how many times?
Yeah, really. But it's not really that bad because they keep sending her back.
If she had asked for another lunch break, maybe that would be pushing it.
Yeah, she's already got 4.
Yeah, so that might have been a little much. But the rest of it, I think, was pretty reasonable. But still, poor Steele has to explain that one. I don't think we had any movie references.
Gone with the Wind was a kind of an oblique reference.
Gone with the Wind, yeah.
Yeah, he's Gone with the Wind. Yeah.
The closest thing. But this is a good episode. I really like this one. I have a lot of fun with it. Like I said, season 4 so far just keeps churning them out. Like we're 8 episodes in, and like I said, I don't think there's one so far that I would classify as a dud that I would skip. There's only one episode in this season that I would skip, and we're gonna get there, but it's not this one. So yeah, I think it's doing pretty well in terms of like their quality. Anything else to add for this before we? All right, on the website, www.SteeleWatching.com, we've got show notes. I would say links to Amazon US and Amazon Canada, but unless we're planning to put Gone with the Wind up there,
I'll put it.
There's not really. Yeah, that was our only movie reference. There's also merch links, like you can buy a shirt, or you can, buy us a coffee. Mugs. You can become a, subscribe, or,
You can buy us a coffee and buy yourself a coffee mug.
Exactly. those are two awesome things you could do. There's also
Buy yourself a coffee mug to put our coffee in.
We don't have coffee. But there's also social media resources and links such as
the official Remington SteeleWatching Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. Also links to do the support so you can donate and help us financially. And then, of course, the ever popular Steele Watchers fan group we have links to as well.
Join us. Join us. And the next episode, speaking of episodes that are knocking it out of the park and that are fan favorites, we've got Dancer, Prancer, Donner, and Steele. So it's the only Christmas episode that we've got. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, me too.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Eric and Sara here. Just a quick announcement to let you know that, yes, we do appreciate everyone who listens, participates, and supports the podcast in whatever way you do. But we wanted to give an extra thank you to those who are so graciously giving to be monthly financial supporters.
We are making live streams of our recording sessions available to anyone who is a monthly financial supporter. So not only can you watch us live as we record our podcast episodes, you will be getting access to the raw, behind-the-scenes, unedited version of episodes before they get officially released.
And Sara, does that include our mistakes and screw-ups and our humiliating?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
every
it does.
single one of them.
Every single one of them, yes. So again, this is just an extra thank you to those who are going above and beyond. But whether you choose to become a monthly financial supporter or not, we still love you. We want to say we thank you for your support, your encouragement, and your feedback.
If you want to become a monthly financial supporter, please visit our website at www.SteeleWatching.com to sign up.
Hey, everybody. Eric and Sara here. Just a quick announcement to let you know that, yes, we do appreciate everyone who listens, participates, and supports the podcast in whatever way you do. But we wanted to give an extra thank you to those who are so graciously giving to be monthly financial supporters.
We are making live streams of our recording sessions available to anyone who is a monthly financial supporter. So not only can you watch us live as we record our podcast episodes, you will be getting access to the raw, behind-the-scenes, unedited version of episodes before they get officially released.
And Sara, does that include our mistakes and screw-ups and our humiliating?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
every
it does.
Single one of them.
Every single one of them, yes. So again, this is just an extra thank you to those who are going above and beyond. But whether you choose to become a monthly financial supporter or not, we still love you. We want to say we thank you for your support, your encouragement, and your feedback.
If you want to become a monthly financial supporter, please visit our website at www.SteeleWatching.com to sign up.